had to travel a lot further. Like you went all the way from the US to Denmark, and then now from Denmark to here. You know, so as you're keeping up with the time zone, you're not getting wrecked.
I'm good. I'm good.
Nice.
I'm actually dreading the flight back because it's like 7.5 hours and then 11.5 hours. I don't think that's gonna be fun in economy, Anders.
Well, that's all after the whole thing is done. I'm excited for this game, though. I think both teams have a lot to prove right here. We're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get straight into the action. Aurora up against Big. And it's the first game of the tournament. So let's just get this show on the road. Aurora looks like they're going to be starting on the CT side with Big on the T side. We're on Mirage to begin with. It's a fantastic battleground for it, and it looks like it will be some sort of a B attack eventually, but there could be a bit of a fake over at the A-bomb side first from the looks of things.
Yeah, and this is perfect here for Jota, able to get a good spot here. Actually going aggressive, so might be in for an interesting surprise here. Oh, that is fantastic. Actually finds a way to peel away one player before finding the rush, and it's going to be a full retake here now for Aurora. Oh, hello.
Okay. Now, that is the danger of giving up the USB to the T side. He just picked that up, straight sniped the player coming in from Catwalk. Wicadia, he's good for the one. It's going to have to be a lot more than that. A quick second kill to take down Hyped. And now it's actually looking a bit more impressive. Centaurus shows up, and even with the bomb planted here, Crimbo's in a lot of trouble. They should be able to plant and have two people hold it. Now they know where he is. No more trouble there. Wicadia will take him down. Fantastic triple with the dualies.
I got to say, Anders, you know, we just did the Blast Rivals tournament in Copenhagen with and we were casting like the likes of Falcons and Mals, and I feel like the headshots weren't coming that easily to like the top 4 teams in the world. That was pretty violent. So it's good to see that both teams are certainly feeling that first bullet accuracy early in the morning here.
Yeah, that's what we want to see, right? Just a nice beginning for the you know, especially when you're early in the tournament. It's the first map in a best of 3. Having a slow start, which unfortunately we do see even from the top teams, like you mentioned. Sometimes it, you know, goes like, you know, an entire half of a map before you really start to feel good about it. And I like to see that they are hitting the shots right away. Now, for the T side here, there is a bit of a buy-in with the Tech-9s. It is such a good idea to try and go for this bomb side. Even a Mat 10 on JDC. Honestly, this could work. If they get one kill here on Madja, they could instantly get the bomb plant. He doesn't have any head armor either. He's vulnerable.
That was a chunky grenade, though, as the attempt is made into the site, but it is a fortress on this B-bomb side. Aurora looking really comfortable in dealing with this one, and not looking like they're going to give up any kills even, which would honestly, of course, be the objective at this point for Hyped. Get a headshot or two, get some damage onto the economy, but it's not really looking all that good for Hyped in this case. But he's going to try his best to find some kind of value.
Honestly, as well, an MR12, having a round like this where you buy up into the second round, which is to be expected, but still, you do it and you do nothing. You don't get the bomb planted, you don't do any damage at all to the CT side. That is a bit of a weird feeling, you know? If they could have got 3 kills in this round, even if they don't win it, I'm sure that for Big, they're going to say, it's not a big deal. We're going to be okay with it. But the fact that they just do nothing here, not really a comfortable start.
No, certainly not. And especially, you know, on the CT side, it's going to feel so awesome to be able to get the AWPs online as soon as you would like to. Just being able to play the game at the pace that you want. But, you know, I'm going to hold that thought because it looks like we may have our 3rd round in a row that is going to involve a pressure through the B apartments.
Yes. Still setting up here with very, very limited chances to do really much of anything. Just going to be wasting a bit of time, which in itself obviously has a purpose. You get the CTs to use all the grenades. You guys know all this already. But that is basically what they're trying to do right now, Big. Is just let them use, you know, a couple of $100 here or there.
Yeah.
Just to slow it down.
And it's interesting on the note of economy too, and just having the CTs be in this position where they're super comfortable. When you bring the AWP out, hello, all right, okay, a couple headshots with a Deagle, making things a little uncomfortable here now for Aurora. 3 players still up, and they have a good sense as to where the remainder of Big are, but again, would really hate to lose an additional player at this point. So Wicadia will help to prevent that reality, and there is the finish from Jota. Lovely stuff there from Aurora. And we go 3-0 into the next round.
And, you know, losing some of those players there on the CT side, that's not great, but I think at least one of them only had the MP9, so they just you know, they still keep 3 M4s alive on the CT side. It's a pretty good start. We can all be happy with this for the Turkish side, which I still think has a lot more to prove. They started so well, and they kind of ended last year as well, I think, in a nice way. Obviously, picking up Jota from the Sangal core, I think it's a sick pickup. I actually think everyone agrees now that he just has so much promise. But at the end of the day, as a team as a whole, we want more of them. I want to see Centauros show up even more consistently. He's obviously an incredible player, but there are definitely games where he doesn't have the impact that we're sometimes looking for. And in a tournament like this one, we can't really afford that. Hyped on the other side. First buy round here for Big, and they've already picked up a couple of kills. Wicadia to go down next. Maybe could have been an opportunity for QB.
Crimbo might be unknown out of the smoke. Looks like WOXIK now looking for it, and Crimbo able to escape. And big stakes on this round here for the CT economy for sure, as we did get WOXIK going for the AWP straight away. That's not always the choice when you're ahead in the economy. We can talk more about that later. WOXIK finding the kill in connector there. Bomb making his way in mid, and tabseN just having to reactively scope and shoot, and it's now a double peek coming in. Nice punish from WOXIK with the assistance of Jota there in mid. Now they've got the bomb control. It's upside down. It's doing a handstand.
Yeah, why is it like that?
I don't know.
Why is the C4 doing acrobatics? It's weird. Big opportunity right now with Crimbo. Definitely someone you'd want in a 1 versus 2 like this. Unfortunately, that is WOXIK on the other side, and he's had a bit of a comeback as a player himself. Flash around the corner, good Molotov to force him out into the fight, but Jota is there as well. Oh, the spray is nearly connected. Now he just needs one shot onto that player, but it's not going to happen. WOXIK will survive on the AWP. That got way too close.
That was uncomfortable. That was really uncomfortable. And it is interesting how both teams were so aggressive going into the beginning of that round, setting this precedent that neither team is wanting to essentially give up mid early on. So we'll see how that dynamic plays out. And one thing that's interesting, Anders, is that on the CT side of Mirage, as we go into the anti-eco for Aurora, is a lot of teams like to actually bring the AWP out later, because if you show the M4s and then bring the AWP out later, it kind of changes how the teams have to peak, and they never know when it's going to necessarily come out. So that can be an edge, but I like that WOXIK is just getting it online straight away.
Yeah, he's such a pivotal part of the team, so get him warmed up, get him feeling comfortable at the start. There's some good grenades down, trying to keep the pressure on. They actually get the opening kill as well. The bomb maybe could have got planted there, but a nice shot, edge of the smoke, will slow it down if nothing else. The bomb this time looks like it is going to be going down, although the damage is remarkable. Even as they get the bomb planted, this after plant is looking very tricky at the moment. They're low on health. They have picked up the M4 and JDC, so might there be a slight opportunity to do some more damage here. I doubt it's going to be more than that, though. Crimbo trying to dance around the box here. He does force out the shot, but it just isn't enough, unfortunately. Another round going the way of Aurora. It's going to be 5-0 right at the beginning.
And I do really like when teams are kind of favoring their economy and saying, hey, you guys can get down the bomb. We don't really mind. It's more favorable for us to go for that retake, especially early when no util has been used by the CTs. I think if we do dial all the way back to like 2015, 2016, I think it was SK's Fallen that showed that, hey, if you have a CT retake with full util on Mirage on the A site, it's extraordinarily favorable for the CTs. So yeah, letting a plant go down is really not too much of an issue if you know all the retake util.
And I think you could even sense to some extent there that they weren't really that stressed out either on the Aurora side, even if they knew the bomb was getting planted.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably just a good mental check for them early on. You get a sense that, because it's worth it. It's worth it to sacrifice the bomb plant and then say, fine, you do that, but then we're going to win the round. Because we've seen this just last week in Copenhagen, right? Sometimes you have the ability to get like 5-0, 6-0, but then you give up a round in the middle of it for no reason. Like you lose one of the easier rounds. There's no reason that should happen here. And Aurora so far, just kind of cracking on. Wicadia with a 9-1 scoreline. So just him individually, absolutely stepping it up.
I'm really cool. I think it's really cool to see, WOXIK being super active with the AWP here. Definitely an AWPer that has always been really good in these aggressive scenarios, and he's looking for it. So this battle between him and Hyped, I think, is a cool storyline in this matchup, and we'll have to see what Aurora are looking to do here. You can see WOXIK already I'm not sure if he caught the walk across there. He must realize that this is a possibility, as the CTs wait now for Big to make the move.
Just a really long stance, though. But look at how happy they are just to have JDC down there. So they've rotated the bomb back. They probably think, listen, if one little, miscommunication on the CT side, we can JDC either in the connector or up in the window behind him. Just a little bit of pressure, and they're going to be in a very, very strong spot. Smoke goes up. Flash actually flashed him as well, so the timing was a bit awkward there. He wanted to take the peek. He's still going to get the job done. Centaurus goes down, and he spins around and takes down Wicadia. That is incredible entry work coming out from JDC, and lost in the smoke is Woxic. No scopes JDC. Tries for a second. There is a bit of revenge here. Madger showing up, and he will get the kill onto Tamsin. And weirdly, it's a 1 versus 1 with the nade on top. Crimbo dunks on Madger, and they're going to be able to pick up the round just barely, but it doesn't really get any closer than that.
Yeah, and it's interesting there too, because we get a straight up just typical A split. The 2-3, 2 mid, 3, 2 ramp, 1 palace coming into the A site. So it's a really classic way to split onto the A bomb site. And there wasn't really any shenanigans before that. It's like, okay, we get set up at mid, we wait for a timing to go in, from ramp and palace, and just for the connector smoke, and then that's it. So pretty simple opening, but it was effective there. So I'm curious how Aurora might decide to adjust, if at all. Do they fight for mid harder? Do they try to push a ramp, take away that position, give some information, takes away that portion of the push? There's a lot of options they have to go from here, Anders, with a 5-1 lead.
Yeah, I mean, I think they did hang around the connector for a really long time, Aurora, and I think a lot of the times on the CT side, you don't really see that. People, they do it in the beginning, especially if they want to push themselves, but then after a while, it does become a little bit risky here. So maybe there is something for a change. I do like the fact that they took a bit of an early timeout, just to, it's 1 round lost, and it's down to the 1v1, but I still think just settling the whole team, making sure everyone is on, is on point here. They're also very low on money, so got to be careful that this doesn't spiral into a lot more. And Big probably know that themselves. And they're going to be ready to fight in this one, see if they can maybe do some damage and come back into this opening half, because it's been a really slow start for the German side. There's just no way around it.
And I like the setup there for Woxic, although he doesn't hit the shot, using the HE there to disperse that smoke. And now falling back away from the connector a little bit, which goes into the feedback that you were giving there, where Aurora maybe respecting the space for Big somewhat more. But also like forcing Big to have to spend a bit more util to take some of these forward positions. And JDC looking for something. Will something be given? Absolutely not. Wicadia, great defense there from the ladder position. And dropping down. This puts Big in an awkward spot.
Good utility, though. There is a pretty big timing window that they could hit here if they could get Madger before the backup is there. But look at how quickly they're running in. Doesn't matter. The backup's been shut down, too. Oh, my God. The entries are so good. They actually managed to get 3 people to the bomb site, Aurora, right before Disaster was about to strike. And I thought that was going to be enough. Big had almost missed their timing window. Like, it was so close. If another 2 seconds, and those, backup Aurora players, they get to the bomb site, they get settled in. But I think basically the backup ran, into the attack and just got completely knocked out. So kind of an unusual situation, to be honest, there. Great news for Big, though. So we know Aurora, without any money, they're going to save the M4, the AWP. And then it's up to Big to see how far they can run with this. There's such an opportunity for them to actually recover this first part of the half, really.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, really putting some respect onto Aurora, because Big have proven in this game that if they get the positions to work with, they can hit the shots. So that really puts a strong emphasis on Aurora playing a really strong tactical game and making sure that they're able to, essentially take the edges there. Because if this just comes down to gunfights, it's absolutely the case that Big have been showing so far in this match that they can certainly perform there. So once again, we saw that Aurora's adjustment was to be a little bit more passive in mid. Yeah. And still didn't quite work out the way that they wanted. So we could have small aggressions. Again, Mirage is awesome for the CT options that you get compared to other maps.
I don't think we got to see the hype flick there as he was jumping past down in the market, but obviously you put that into context, you think, oh, well, how often is he really going to hit a shot like that? Woxic They know that the AWP is in play on the T side, right? They know that there's a CT AWP out there somewhere, so they have to try and avoid it. And I think they're actually going to the B bomb side because the AWP just revealed itself on that side, and it's so common to take a shot and rotate. So big, they're not stupid. They understand that probably Woxic is going to try and relocate because that bit of information's been given over. So they're trying to stay sort of a step ahead right now, which absolutely is the right call, as you can tell. Wicadia back here getting his toes singed a bit. Going to call it out and say, he actually might just say, just stay away. It doesn't even matter. You can't really rotate over. Smart play from Big, honestly.
Absolutely. And is it interesting, as you say, like the mind game there with, are they going to go away from the AWP where they first see it and then Big then kind of run into it, or do they kind of call that sort of bluff in a sense and just hit the B side, which they did, which, as you say, was definitely a great call. But it's something that still works out for Aurora because they still get to carry the AWP into the next round, presumably, unless there is a hunt here. But it doesn't look like Big are interested, which makes sense. Their economy is not amazing, so they'll be happy, it seems, to allow Woxic to continue to have the AWP unchallenged. And in addition to that, with Xantares holding onto the M4, this actually is nice. It's going to be very helpful for Aurora into that next round.
Can Madja actually run and pick up an AK? That would be kind of interesting. He just picked up a Molotov, if nothing else. Oh, there we go. It's so far. It's got really long arms.
That's
somehow.
sick. That's actually so sick.
Yeah. To be honest, even picking up the Molotov, it's such a big difference between the Molotov and the incendiary grenade. On the CT side, obviously the AK is the more important thing, but whenever you see the CTs have the Molotov, actually it can throw off the dynamic of a round quite a bit, because the Ts might be running and thinking, oh, it doesn't matter, but then it absolutely does. Because running through a Molotov is not at all the same. You don't want to be doing that. Speaking of incendiaries, a little bit of pressure towards top mid, but there's really nobody there to receive on the other side. Instead, looks like they're kind of punishing this B bomb side. They're saying, you know what, we don't think they can stand up to it. Madja, I mean, he's the IGL for Aurora, obviously, and he's not the star player in any way. I feel like he normally does shoot pretty hard. He's one of those IGLs recently that's been doing a bit better, but still, if you were going to fight anyone on this team, it probably would be Madja. So why not try and bully him at the start of the game and really shut him down?
And I like how Wicadia showed presence really deep. So now Big have to spend maybe a little bit more utility clear. They'll take more time clearing because they're like, well, he could be here. And what I love is that Wicadia obviously pulled back to the shop so that he can play more of a retake position, so it's safer. So just like these small things certainly make a difference. We'll see how it plays out though now, because Big are starting to move on the map, looking for that mid control. This is a T-side caller's dream. You get the early 5v4 with well over a minute to play with. Nice, I like the use of HEs here for opening up Woxic to these shots. Another one. Oh. And do they realize the split on B is coming?
Fortunately, that one just didn't quite go deep enough, so they don't really see anything. And once again, they're testing out this proposition. Madja down at the start of it. Tabson's going to win the fight against Wicadia. That's huge. Woxic going to get that one, relocating, but the Molotov is keeping him a little bit honest here. He can't really swing to try and take another fight. And now Crimbo, free kill for him, taking the first one there. And he doesn't have to re-challenge that. There's no point. Just keep it cool right now. 2 versus 3. Shots are going to get shot right in the toes, Dan. That's awful.
Yeah, it's you need your toes to balance, Anders.
Yeah, and just
people already like it's one of those things easy to overlook.
How many toes do you have to lose before you just die? Is the question.
Yeah, so, I mean, we'll have to test it.
In this case, about 5 or 6 shots, I guess.
I'm sure the government's done their studies.
Yeah.
Well,
almost certainly.
What's worrying for me here is that what we're seeing is, I mean, Wicadia's in a spot there where that's kind of a kill like you feel like you should probably be getting,
right?
1v1, and if you look at the way that how many bullets he was able to shoot and all of that. It feels like, okay, that feels like a slight underperformance in the defense. And that happens, of course, but it's the case now that it's happening at sort of the wrong moment where Big are gaining a lot of momentum here now.
Yeah.
And also just the confidence from QB to be able to run into the B apps and just instantly decapitate Madja. It's definitely, I feel like now putting Aurora firmly on the back foot. And I like that we're seeing this pace from Big. I like that they're taking these risks, then falling back into slower rounds.
You gotta expect as well, it's putting all of a sudden a bit of a challenge on Aurora to see if they want to call in more reinforcements earlier. But the problem is if they do that, it will weaken their defense elsewhere. And I'm sure that is something that Tamsin is going to be super well aware of, that if we can keep punishing them, then suddenly they might be weaker elsewhere on the map. You can see they're doing this full execute onto the A bomb side, but in fact, it's not A at all. It's just all a ruse, and Madja's here, MP9 in hand, hoping that they're going to jump up straight into him. Does get the first one. It's not far from maybe getting the double kill there. The spray looked like it was maybe going to connect. Even with the double, though, it would have been a bomb plant regardless, and see the money here looking tough for Aurora. Nice shot from Hype. He's absolutely ready. He's got 7 kills so far. Jota just trying to land a couple of more sprays with this one, but it's not enough. Wicadia creeping in towards the cash register. It's a 1 versus 3. There's nothing you really can do about this one. Wow, what a comeback for Big, from being down 5 rounds to winning 5 in a row on their own. Yeah,
and I feel like if you were to review some of those initial rounds that were lost, it was so marginal. It really came down to who wins that one fight, because that small edge going in terms of the numbers, it just waterfalls. And Aurora, there was a key fight in Connector on the first round, that big one, where if that pick goes differently, I think Aurora probably still have momentum even now, potentially. But Big showing the confidence here. The march of the MP9s not yielding the result that perhaps Aurora wanted. And also WOXIK has been managing to get a lot of opportunities.
Yes.
But even still, it is the case that Big and Hyped, we're talking about the AWP battle, are certainly pulling ahead.
He again, a lot of AWPers end up being such a critical role for him, and he kind of got his opportunity early on, and then I think maybe it was just too early for him to be in Tier 1 Counter-Strike, so he got thrown down to play at Tier 2 again, and then he got dragged up again into Big. And I feel like he looks more ready now, and I think that can happen to players where it's too early on for them to really, play at a high level.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. You need to be exposed. You need to be exposed to start to adapt to how players play every position differently. The edges change. But going into round 11 here, typical window smoke, and Big have been pretty successful in gaining that mid control as we've seen so far in this half. And you can see WOXIK once, or rather, actually it's Wicadia. No, it's WOXIK.
And Wicadia.
No, and Wicadia. Okay, my brain was blowing a fuse there.
Listen, it's worked so well. It's even cheated you, Dan, which is the whole point of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, if we just talked about it, how WOXIK was moving around the other one. This time, he doesn't have to move around. He can take a shot on one side of the map, and then there's a chance that Big are going to rotate in, thinking, okay, listen, let's stay away from this side. There's an AWP over here, and then you walk into the other AWP. And actually, Wicadia, I've seen them AWP before. It's not the first time. They do this sometimes, Aurora, and it does actually work pretty well. It also gives them a huge luxury, right? Because we know the B bomb side's been bullied so much with Madja going down. So now Madja is playing closer towards middle on connector. So it changes the defense. It allows for, maybe an opportunity for Aurora to sort of get back on their feet here. So they did lose just now 5 in a row. So trying to get things leveled up again. 40 seconds left in the round. It looks like it will be some sort of a split through the connector with actually quite a lot of people here. I'm curious how this is going to be playing out. Smoke, deep Molotov there, super important. So Madja's going to call it out saying, listen, I can't do anything to help out here. 30 seconds left in the round.
Yeah, right now this is super telegraphed here. Xantaurus knows players are on the way. There's the first, but it's a 1-for-1 as QB keeps the dream alive here for Big for the moment, but they're finally matching with a peak, finding the head of JDC. Now starts to really stymie this approach into the A site. Oh my goodness, QB with some excellent entry frags in this round. Now just Madja to try to save it, but Hyped delivering again, and it's another round for Big.
They should not have been winning this round. Aurora, they were in position. They had some pretty deep setups there, but the last couple of shots, the flash to take down the AWP, and then the peek in towards Shadow was absolutely nuts. And yeah, Aurora, they're not going to be happy about this round. They actually knew what was coming. You're right, it was very telegraphed towards the end here. Also, it'd be interesting to watch Xantaurus in that first fight on a replay, because it felt like he was oddly, like there was a lot of movement as he was trying to get that first kill. It felt like he was moving almost too much. Oh, that's, speaking of awkward, they know this. Flash coming over, all right. WOXIK getting a bit of help from Xantaurus. That's good communication. 3v4 here. He knew that he was spotted, so calling in a bit of reinforcements. JDC, though, quick to return back into the 3v3 we go. The bomb is at top mid, though.
Yeah, Yeah, very awkward now here for Aurora. We got that scaling happening from A ramp as well. And the creep from QB. This is a brilliant position now. QB in an excellent spot to capitalize, and he absolutely will. JDC still in that mid position, could catch the rotator on B, but Xantares just silencing QB. And now it's just down to JDC, and they have really very little idea as to precisely where he might be. And this element of surprise is everything. And there it is, converted into a kill into Xantares. Now looking for the next player.
Yeah, who's Magia, and the problem is Magia had just a moment there where he kind of knew what was going on, but so much time has passed that anything could really be happening. I don't know if they knew where the bomb was to begin with, but JDC making the right call of the move. If he goes with the B bomb site, then Magia's going to be so far away by the time he realizes. And there's nothing that Magic could do right now. He just has to wait and hold and hope that he's in the right position. But if they lose this one, this will be Aurora winning the first 5 rounds and then losing the next 7 to basically lose the half, which is honestly unforgivable, right? This is not what we're expecting. They had a good start. They looked like they were really hot, but Big found a way at the beginning to really punish that B bomb site, and it just completely dismantled the defense over on the Aurora side. Magia running in now. He's got to be in a bit of a hurry. There's a lot of corners to check. He's got the kit, but still, it's a very open bomb site. JDC crouched down behind the half wall here at the back, and Magia getting closer and closer every step. He's just on top of him. The spray connecting on the one side here. AK should be coming out, but it won't be. Magia's picked up one of his own to get the headshot. He spins around instantly on that defuse. My God, what a way to finish here. Aurora, they get that 6th round on the board, but it's as close as it could possibly be. I mean, what a first half.
And that's such a hard situation for Magia to actually win because it's planted for apartments. That's like the basic thing. So you kind of have to respect that if you're the CT. And so then hiding backside there is definitely an unknown position and very easy to play from. So the fact that Magia was like looking for that is just great cognizance, and that's experience. That is, and if we know anything about Magia, he's got experience. He's got a little bit of experience, Anders.
Yeah, one of the true veterans of the space. Him and Tamsin obviously been around for a real long time, but Magia goes even further back, obviously, into all the way to 1.6.
It's like Orange, basically.
Yeah, I think it's awesome though, because that was such a big question. Remember early on, people were like, "How long can you even play Counter-Strike for?" A lot of people say, "Oh, once you get 30, it's done with." And I think what we're seeing now is that even though sometimes mechanically it can be hard to keep up with the Sumas, still, some of these players actually, they really, really live on in a big way. It is exciting.
Especially as in the in-game leader role, there is so much experience that you can, and leadership that you can kind of just make up for any sort of issues you may have in mechanical skill. There's just so much you can make up for the, where the young players just don't have that. They don't have the experience that you can have. It's impossible for them to get it. So it's really great that we're seeing the older generation raise the younger generation. Isn't it so awesome?
It's beautiful, isn't it? So it builds on the history of Counter-Strike. Here we go. We're into the second half. We got 2 smokes, a couple of flashbangs as well. Aurora, see what they could do. Going to be setting up for the window to begin with. Nobody is there at the moment, but still worth throwing. Means you don't have to worry so much about it. It looks like Big are in position to maybe deal with, an eventual A crunch. Smoke, so they're going to flash their way through their own smoke here. Yep, straight into it. Such a great setup. JDC, though, quick execute, but this next fight, he has to hit the shot right away. You could see he misses a couple, and that Glock is going to immediately become more powerful. So now it might just be down to Tabson, the leader of the team. They're still hoping it'll be B, but it won't be. And Tabson's sneaking out here, but there's a player right behind him. It's a great shot, but he should be dead. Right on top of him. I don't think Tabson has any clue that someone's walking out. I can't believe they haven't found him yet. And actually, Xantares makes a bit of noise dropping down. This is kind of awful. Tabson getting the headshot. What a mistake coming out here. They could have won this round, Aurora. They were in great position for it.
Oh, wow. That's just one of those awkward moments. That truly is. And we're going to see a pistol go, one to either side here. So, I mean, I think it's always nice to see that, especially with the economy being where it is with MR12, that you see that get split, as the pistols obviously can be so impactful. So we'll see, if Big are able to do as good of a job as Aurora were able to do with that good economy off of the start. Headshots are raining on in here. I'm also curious, what the choice will be on the CT side. in terms of the AWP. And you can see a little bit of frustration there.
Frustration, no question. Yeah, it'll be fun to see where Hype ends up playing with it. For now, he's trying to make the money to actually buy the AWP, which I appreciate. MP9, double swing coming in. The Big just... It was not the best start for them, but they don't really look like that's impacting them at all. Like, once they had a foothold in the game, they've just managed to bounce right back into it. It's great work. Walks against Zantara's left. 2 versus 3 that... While it is winnable, it's not exactly easy. They don't have helmets on the T side here. So even up against the M4 or the MP9, oh, the timing is ridiculous. Come on.
Will Zantaras have the... Well, and also Woxic. Will they have the cognizance to check the shadow position? You know, you always have to be concerned with it, but it just sometimes it just feels like you can't. There's so many spots you got to check in. Oh wow! What? Did he kill him with a smoke?
No!
I think he killed him with a smoke.
That cannot be real. Dan, what is going on? I think he might have. There's no other explanation. There's no reason why that icon would show up otherwise.
I don't know. How does that even work? Did he run out of MP9 bullets and like the smoke did like that last like one?
Yeah, I mean that is what it is. Death by 1,000 cuts and then connected with by... Oh, oh no way!
What do you say about that? What can you say about that one?
Just committing actual Counter-Strike crimes in Kazakhstan. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Humbling and humiliating Aurora at the moment. I just was not ready for it. 3 versus 5 at the start. No surprise, obviously. This is much more of a flat round coming out from the Turkish side. How do you go up 5-0 and just build no momentum?
Yeah. This comes to a immediate halt. It's certainly an issue.
It is. And again, Aurora, they're a team that they've been doing this. Like the desk were talking about it. Yeah, they get to playoffs every once in a while, or maybe even somewhat consistently. But the issue is beyond that. Like once they start playing teams, usually it's the stronger teams they end up falling to. Big, I wouldn't say they're on that level right now. Even if they have some interesting results, but still, they should be one of those teams where Aurora should be heavily favored going into it, and they're just not showing that at the moment. QB here coming out. Great shots as well. Up to 14 kills in total. They look so fresh at the moment.
Yeah, we have just seen that one half, of course. We're going to get into the sort of buys versus buys to start to really see how the second half shapes up. But I totally agree. It feels like Big are absolutely the better team right now. Just not just from the performance on hitting shots, but also like the team playing the tactics. They seem a lot more cohesive at the moment. And talk about that more in a moment because we get the smoke in window. And this is the first gun round now for Aurora. We'll see what they can do with it.
This round just has to hit so hard, doesn't it? It has to be a strong start to the second half, even though it seems like Big are super ready at the moment. We need to see something out of the Turkish side.
A fast A play, they're going to keep it simple.
I mean, I do kind of like that. Mages managed to sneak through the smoke in here. 3 on the ramp, 1 in the palace. Why make it complicated? Hyped way in the back, and we'll see if they can land a good grenade on top of him. Flash to set it up, but he did get a counter grenade out himself, and he's still able to stand in this position. It doesn't even matter. He doesn't hit the shot, and Tabson went down before anything got started. It's Centaurus to get a couple of openings. He's only up to 8, and I said it at the start, even though we know what an absolutely sick player he is, these are the kind of games where they need him. They need him to actually be the Terminator, like we call him, and show up and just shut it down. Good round to show exactly what he could do here. Crimbo trying to do some damage in the back. I don't think he's going to be able to win the round. Even with the kit, he doesn't have the smoke, so you try and make it more expensive, be a little bit more annoying, but not a winnable round.
Yeah, and if you look at the setup that Big had in this round on the A side, just the timing when the rush hit, it's one of those spots which is where the shadow player's very weak, because if a set piece comes in and CT smoke, tickets just you know, you can't have no visibility there for the AWPer. Now your shadow player, he gets Molotov. He's isolated in really the worst potential position. So it's one of those things where this setup it puts tabseN in a spot where he has to over-deliver on shots. And we even saw Hyped come out to try to hit an extremely difficult shot, and that's not what a place you want to be in if you're the defensive AWPer. You want to be hitting easier shots.
Yeah.
So great round selection from Aurora to kick things off on their first gun round.
An absolute necessity to stop the fading away that was happening on Mirage. Otherwise, now map was picked by Big, so we kind of had an inkling anyway that they were going to be ready to fight. But at the same time, they are the slight underdogs here. tabseN's got the grenade primed and ready. Hyped goes down immediately. They're going to try for the flash at the ramp. I don't hate it. It's fine. I do like it.
Tell me how you feel, Anders. Tell me how you really feel.
Feel betrayed by my own brain is what I feel, Dan.
Oh.
But it happens every once in a while.
That sounds complicated.
It's a hard relationship. We're still working on it, you know. Still working on getting everything working, you know, just how I want.
At least you're gainfully employed.
It's true.
You have that going for you.
That is you're right. We'll look on the bright side every once in a while.
Yeah.
I hope Aurora can find the same kind of attitude, because I don't think this played out the way that they were expecting either. Major, hard to know who's sneaking up on who in that moment.
Yeah. It sounds like just a manifestation of what's going on in your mind.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll get it all ironed out eventually. Get all the wires, you know, connected in the right spot. Nice shot. Yeah, get the AK. Probably, if you can save 2 AKs here, that is preferable, I think. They've got a bit of a round buffer anyway. You don't have to try to fight to win this round, so
yeah, get the AKs.
Keep the fight going.
And it's also interesting because, again, we love Mirage because it has so many options for the CTs. You can be aggressive basically everywhere that the Ts can be aggressive, and it does, if you have the right setup for it, it doesn't put you at a disadvantage necessarily. You could pick a mid opening, you could pick a palace opening, a ramp, apartments. So there's a lot of ways that Big could try to get aggressive, and given that they lost the previous round by just allowing Aurora to just set up and execute, the best way to deal with that is to disrupt the execute before it gets going. And so aggression somewhere, I think, is the ticket.
Well, and, you know, just because you bring that up, it's worth thinking about the fact that Aurora really didn't get to do that much, or didn't want to do it, right? We weren't seeing a lot of those aggressive pushes. We had, I think, one of the more aggressive things we maybe saw was probably them having the AWP towards the end of the first half over at the B hallways. Like, they really weren't that forward, and I kind of agree with you. That's something that's typically a big advantage on this kind of a map. You know, even just sometimes you'll see like a double push to top mid from the CT side just to try and put some pressure on it. It felt like they didn't have those kind of ideas. Maybe Big are going to be more able to do that. 2 AKs on the CT side, 1 AWP now. Bomb leaning towards the A side early on, so very likely going to be finished there unless something changes. But we'll see if Big can disrupt what the Ts are trying to do.
And so far, it feels pretty standard in terms of the CT setup from Big. And Aurora, perhaps going back to what worked just now, and just going for that A hit yet again. Pretty simple, a 1-4 A hit. And Woxic might just try to contact in, but this might not be the approach here. Hyped holding the angle. AWP versus AWP, and Hyped picks it up. And that's a beautiful opening there for Big.
I'd love to see it. In the middle, though, gotta be careful here. Oh, man, it's so awkward. You know what? Good job getting the 1 kill. That's such an easy position to throw everything away. At least he did a little bit of something to try and buy some space for his team with the smoke up already. And the AWP and CT spawn. AWP not really a good weapon to stop that bomb plant. You know, shooting through the smoke he could, but it's not a guarantee. Wicadia here. Nice off angle. Gets the first. I think he knows Crimbo's out there too. Swings for it. Straight for the headshot. That was as clean as you could get. Centaurus will go down in return, but now it's 2 versus 2, and the bomb is only just planted. They have some time, Big, to creep onto the bomb side. It's exactly what they're doing here, trying to find the shot, but Wicadia, he won't stop. Gets another kill, Jota to get the last one, and a huge relief right now for the Turkish side. They absolutely needed to pick up a round like this one, and it actually puts Big in a really awkward position now.
Yeah, I mean, major props to Wicadia. I mean, that off angle, that's on that timing, you just really don't expect this, and you also get that slight distance advantage on the angle. So there's quite a few advantages in that particular engagement there for Wicadia, but you got to hit the shots, and that's exactly what he did. 9-9 the score, as Hyped is the only dangerous man on big right now, but it is an AWP and it is looking for value around the map. Doesn't find anything in mid just yet. Hyped will rotate back around towards the B site, and actually more of a lean there at the moment for Aurora, but they can of course still go anywhere. So we'll see exactly what happens, and if Aurora are able to do discovery on this AWP like you were describing when the tables were on the, or rather the foot was on the, you know, shoes and stuff.
Yeah,
there you go. That's how it works.
Yeah. Like whatever's going on in my brain, Dan, it's also spread to your side. I appreciate that.
Why is it contagious?
I don't know. Terrible influence on you. I'm sorry. I do apologize. You know, that's all I can offer, really. My apologies. Hyped is going to go down, which sucks, because I was about to give a whole speech about how, in the right moment, he actually is the kind of player that's really fun to watch when it's sort of backs to the wall kind of Counter-Strike. I've seen it before. I didn't get to do the speech, so I guess that's good news, because he did just get absolutely bodied over at the B-bomb side. But he is, for me, if he had a chance to really have that fight, it would be kind of a test to see how comfortable he's feeling, because he is one of these players that I think, especially in the group stage of a tournament, maybe especially against teams that are on level with Big or maybe slightly weaker, he's one of those players that will just run wild with it. So would have been fun to see him swing that weapon. But it's not going to happen. It's all in the past now.
Yep. I don't believe in Fate, Anders, but I think I do believe in it selectively, and I think in that moment, the universe was like, you guys need to just stop talking about this right now. True.
I like it selectively. Just whenever it happens to work out, it's like, oh, that might be something to it.
That's. I found that this is the best way to think. Generally, Anders, you know, you just gotta.
I appreciate the honesty of it. You know.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Well, listen, this is turning into a very unpredictable game all of a sudden. Look at the long streaks of rounds for both sides.
Yes.
Normally, you see so many rounds given up where it's like, oh, suddenly it's like a lot of back and forth and nobody has any money. But I feel like Aurora starting to reassert themselves in the game. They really didn't want to just get straight knocked out in the first map here.
Yeah.
It's good recovery.
I think one interesting aspect is that, you know, WotX for Aurora has been the most aggressive player. Obviously, Xantares is a player that you, in your mind, will always associate with aggression as well.
Yes.
But I feel like, you know, we haven't really seen Xantares be that version of himself in this match. And WotX has been an aggressive version of himself, but on the first half, kind of time and again, wasn't getting value from those plays. And I think when both of those players aren't really turning up in that respect, it feels like that was part of the reason why the momentum wasn't really there for Aurora.
And it's such a shame, because they really do need Xantares. It's not that it's only just all on him, but for how good he is. Oh my god, that is such a sickening play. And by the way, Hyped should have known that was coming, because there was no smoke in the window. Whenever you see no smoke in the window and the CT on the T-smoke here, that is an instant sign that the smoke is going to be blown open. So I actually don't doubt that Hype would have known that. If you watch a lot of demos on this map, it's a classic signal that something is going on. There are only so many ways to control the window. You either smoke it, you can also throw Molotovs from top of mid. But when nothing is there, it means something is up. There's definitely some play that's coming your way.
Alarm bells.
Yeah.
Oh, so this could be a way to recover here. Tapson's got the nade in his hand, though. So he can try to slow it down with the nades. MP9, how much time can Tapson buy? Well, it might not matter, because JDC loses his fight by connector. So now Tapson has to reposition into the site. Not many options now. Needs help, but there's no help coming, at least not quickly enough. And Wicadia still, laser accuracy with the AK is already making the difference here for Aurora. After what was a difficult first half and loss of momentum, they're now starting to come into their own, and Big now seemingly needs to be the ones to make the adjustments.
Yeah, one of the big issues that they're going to have in trying to make the adjustments is that they don't have any money for it. All right. Also, WotX just getting that shot. That was through the murder hole, by the way. He shot him basically from window to get that kill. So pretty sick stuff, but there's no money on the CT side. And, you know, we do live in a crazy capitalist world, then, where money does, after all, dictate everything.
Yeah. It's a shame they can't take any loans out for some reason. Maybe their credit rating is just that bad.
Yeah,
the bank's more confused.
They're on the CT side as well. Just don't have the funds, apparently.
Everything's just getting defunded.
Yeah. It's a hard life out there, isn't it? They do have a bunch of MP9s. I'm actually low-key kind of excited about this. I doubt it's going to work, but it would be sick if it did. Good flashes coming in. They're doing so many of the classic things that you can do on this map. So, again, that T-smoke at top mid, you can either just use it to try and get the cross, but also this time they throw a flash, and then there's the wide swing in from Madja. And he doesn't get flashed at all, so it is just actually a great demo so far to view if you just want to watch like really good utility on the T side. On that top mid position, they've been doing fantastic work so far. Also great utility in the previous round with the Molotovs down towards Shadow and everything else. Aurora, they're making their lives a little bit easier by just using some of these grenades in a nice spot. Speaking of grenades, they are throwing an ocean of fire at Crimbo towards the end. Kind of overkill, but why not?
Why not? And I'm liking the, you taking these moments to explain these tactics. I feel like we need to have like, some kind of like audio bumper or something like tactics with Anders.
My own one that I can cue whenever I want to.
Exactly, yeah.
What if I could pause the game and do it? How annoyed do you think the players would be? Oh no.
Yeah.
He's doing it again.
Yes.
No, but I do love it. I do appreciate the it's just like especially that top mid position, such a wide variety of things you can do.
100%.
This time, top mid smoke, the Molotov, and again, it's such a tell. And hopefully they've realized it doesn't matter on the other side because tabseN straight up fighting Centaurus, which fight that you normally think, oh, Centaurus is going to win that one, but he got caught in a weird position. And again, doesn't seem like the Terminator is quite up and running yet.
Yeah.
Needs a bit of a readjustment himself here. It's a 4 versus 5 though. Big trying to save the map for themselves. Their map pick that they're about to lose.
That's a very nice defensive shot there found also there by Crimbo. And yeah, we're seeing similar strategies to what we saw from Aurora getting the double orbs online. Wicadia now has to try to make something happen. Big up against the wall here. Really need every single round, of course. Force out overtime in map 1 here. Big's pick as well. So definitely not looking to enter the series on the back foot, especially off of their own pick. So Woxic, Jota looking to go for the save. And with the money where it is for Big, there really is no incentive at all for them to hunt for these kills.
Yeah.
So we might have 40 seconds to kill here potentially, as neither team may be interested in an engagement. But with that said, nice elevated position on the fence. And Woxic walking in. This could be a challenging shot, and QB makes it happen. I think above the scope probably there, and gets the next headshot as well.
Nice. They save us some of those 40 seconds by being aggressive anyway. I appreciate that. They did have an enormous amount of money on the T side. I still think you could have maybe made an argument to save, honestly, but they probably thought, you know what, let's just get on with it.
Let's go for it. All right. So this is where you need that resiliency, Anders. You need another couple rounds, get that overtime online.
It's doable, though.
Yeah. But one thing I will say, though, is that now Aurora know that there's double orbs online. And with double orbs, faster plays can be nice because when the smokes are up, you can't get the orb shots as reliably. The bomb goes down. Orbs are not as good for the retakes necessarily. So, and I like this Big going aggressive in mid with the orb. And Crimbo, opener onto Jota. Gives Big another 5v4 early on.
Yeah, they do want to speed it up. I think you're right about the pace of it here. They really don't want to be slow playing against the AWP. The smoke does go up at a really unfortunate time there for Aurora. So now they have to respect that. Wait it out a bit. Wicadia in the middle. If you could have won that fight, how sick would that have been? That might have changed the entire outcome here. But now they're a man down nonetheless. And the bomb is being brought all the way back. I don't know if... It's hard to rotate back on this map all the way through T-spawn because there really could be a player. You could see Woxic is worried that someone could have been pushing up already. We can tell that nobody is, but he just doesn't have that intel. Smoking the window once again. So far, nobody's missed any window smokes either, which weirdly is also a common occurrence on the map now that you don't have the jump throws anymore. People tend to miss them anyway. And
one of the dangers here with double orbs is that you have to be contacting as Aurora because you need the element of surprise. But that means you can walk into an AWP angle because you're not using util. So it's very challenging. And JDC here in the jungle, when that smoke goes away, who is going to be revealed first? And imagine with a walkthrough, and now the AWP revealed from Ticket. It is painfully difficult to get into the A site, but they're still making it happen.
How, though? How are they getting through? Nice shot from Woxic all the way across. Bomb is dropped with 18 seconds on it here. Centaurus going to try and pick it up. He will steal the AK. Makes a bit of a jump over. A bit of a 360. Why is he doing it? Straight for the plant, hoping that Hype won't peek him. He had no other choice, so just crosses his fingers. Now he actually has a winnable opportunity, and this is the other downside of the AWPs. Retaking with them is not always that much fun now. First battle is here in Crimbo. Makes it look like it was nothing. Centaurus, sure, he gets the bomb plant, but still a step in the right direction here. Big clawing their way back to into overtime. They're almost there.
Yes, yes. And you got to love the acrobatics from Xantares. Been watching those Simone Biles highlights, I'm sure. But I mean, maybe there's some logic to it, you know, you like make yourself a little bit more kind of weird to hit potentially. I don't know. But I mean, that's all you can do, Anders. You're in the air. It's like hopeless. It's like you're in that spot where it is once again fate, whether you die or not. You literally have it's out of your hands. After you jump and then you see the orb, it's out of your hands.
You can't do anything. Also, if he had clutched it afterwards, it would have been kind of sick.
Very true. Very true.
Got to think about the content side of it too.
Always
in the middle of the clutch.
Always. But it is interesting there because we had the double orb setup. We talked about what are the dangers of that, how you might want to play against it, and Big still managed to make it work. It was a very close round, but they still managed to make it work. So that's going to bring a lot of confidence here. One more round to get the overtime here for Big on their map pick.
They're stepping closer. I mean, I thought this was going to be lost already. It looked like Aurora had gathered enough momentum. They had enough money to keep buying, so 4 AKs, 1 AWP, and they're going to be throwing it pretty hard towards the A-bomb side. They might as well go for it here. And they must have heard the footsteps on Tamsin. He sees the shadow as well. Oh, this is awkward. Johnson gets one, Madro on the other, and a double opening to crack this A-bomb side. JDC, he's already seen the drop down here, but he's seen a lot of danger. Smoke training down, the Molotov as well. Flashbang in his eyes all the time. A kill on the QB. They might have found the right formula here, and it's just brute violence on the A-bomb side. Jota gets the headshot, and it leaves Hype on his own. He gets shut down. Overtime denied, as Aurora will pick up the opening map here, and that's disastrous for Big, no question.
That is, it's pipped to the post. To go all that way, and only to lose the first map. Well, with that said, we're going to throw it back to the analyst desk to see what they made of that very exciting first.
Here at PGL in Astana, and it's lovely to be watching these two teams. The only complaint so far, really, Dan, is where's Banks to tell me I look lovely in the morning? I feel like that would be a real pick-me-up, you know? Where is he?
I think we can have that arranged.
Yeah.
Just say the words.
He could at least do a call-in, right? Like, you can just call me.
That's true. Oh, like you know, you request a hotel to kind of give you those like calls. I'm sure Banks will do that service for a small fee.
I'll even take a voice note, you know, just even send the bar real low here and just give me something. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be the second map now on Inferno. It's Big versus Aurora, and QB already up in the apartments, just inching for a kill. It's so close, but so often happens. The fight goes on for too long and it backfires.
Yeah, so now Big in a uncomfortable position, but looking to get that opening headshot here, JDC, and doesn't find it, so they're going to have to make their way back into the site, more passive positions. However, what's really cool here is that Aurora forced them back, and now Big have to respect that, hey, they could be setting up into B, and so it'll be a moment here where before Big might think about re-clearing, and it might be too late here because Aurora already up for the mid-challenge. Nice setup, though, by Boiler, or what used to be Boiler. Will there be any value here for Big as they come across? Oh, it is a wipeout there. Aurora charging on through, and the A site is theirs.
They're already walking away, and I understand why. For the Big point of view, it's nothing to be won at this stage. Just save what little you have. That double Boiler position, though, is kind of interesting because it really is all or nothing, right? Either you hit some really sick USP headshots, or you get what really just happened here. Get slaughtered instead. It's uncomfortable, but not for Aurora. Already winning the first one, dodging overtime as well. It was that first map really had an opportunity to be such a disaster for the Turkish side, where you know it's a great start, but you just let it go and get wiped out. But honestly, now they're in a really strong position. Winning the pistol on the T half here, it's their own map pick on Inferno. This could suddenly be leading to a bit of a 2-0 victory.
Yes, yes. And speaking of Wipeout, wasn't Get Right on a Wipeout game show in Sweden?
Damn, you do have good memory, Dan. You're right.
Just a random throwback.
He was. They should do another one with him now, you know.
They should, yeah. Well, with that said, I mean, it's always tricky. Again, we talk about it all the time. The economy, especially in MR12, you're on the CT side of Inferno. You're not going to have any money, but just with the way the economy is, you kind of have to go for the buy anyway. So it does make for a very difficult start here. We'll see what Big can do. I feel like historically, for Big as an org, Inferno's always been somewhat of a comfortable and at times a stomping ground. So maybe they can kind of harken back. If we're doing all the throwbacks, they can harken back to those times too.
Some of those throwbacks they probably won't appreciate. I believe at one point they were referred to as a bug clan based on this particular map when people were having their fun with it. But yeah, second round here. And I do think Big are going to be ready to play. I don't think it's an automatic loss based on the map pick here, but definitely think Aurora are going to be ready. Obviously, Big banned down Anubis at the start, which I think you could all see coming. And Jota looking for the opening. They've already thrown a couple of flashes here. Now he's just with the Galil. Backup is kind of nearby. Oh, they just don't even see it coming. Great double spray down. And the flash is late there for the CT side. They did throw one eventually, but it was kind of after the whole battle had already been lost. At that point, you're not going to get much out of it. And they know that someone's here, right? They know the flash is thrown by somebody else, so it's not really a hard thing to guess. QB, one good shot with a 5-7. Honestly, I still kind of love this round for Big. I think everything they did kind of was the right idea. Just the timing was a little bit off, and obviously the fact that Jota was that far up, nobody had seen that coming. But I think the fundamentals of the idea of the round was pretty good, so can't really complain too much. They're going to lose the round.
Acceptable losses if they keep it to just 2 players dead, but we'll see if Crimbo can change that here. Looking for one more. Looking for the perfect timing here. Maybe here's some of those footsteps, the retreats, and they can kind of swing out in the nick of time to get one of those. But Woxic is looking for it, and it seems like there's really no way for Crimbo to find that exit kill that he's looking for. So very sad. Very sad.
There is a kit in the fountain, but yeah, he wouldn't have time for it. That would have been fun, though.
I mean, yes. I mean, seeing a ninja in a tournament of this level, you might not. I mean, you probably won't see one. So, like, if we get one, that would be pretty memorable.
Hey, listen, we've already had some unlikely. We just had a guy killed with smoke on Mirage.
You know what? That is true.
That's probably more rare than a ninja, to be honest. So,
okay, well, let's get the stats guys on it. Let's get that confirmed.
It's such a rare occurrence, I feel like, but
that's so true.
Especially the way that it happened, outrageous in every way. Here we go, third round. We do have an HE and a flashbang. HE already out. Tabson, see if he could find any luck with it. They have stacked the B-bomb site. Might as well. Okay.
Oh, it's getting scary there. That's chunky damage onto Jota. And now the question is this all bait? But which, and if it is bait, which kind of bait? Is it to bait you into the site, or is it to bait you to go to A? And so they kind of have to respect it, because effectively Jota, one shot, he's dead. So you got to be really careful at this point. And the discipline from Big to just sit still. And it really most likely is the absolute best move. And Aurora don't have any any Mac 10s to like walk through the apartments and feel confident. So they're going to just gamble it.
Okay. He wanted to body block it there. Tabson stops the smoke from going down. Aurora feeling uncomfortable for whatever reason. What an interesting turn of events. You'd love to be able to ask them later on, what exactly made you choose something else here? Either way, it's exactly the right call. But you're right at the beginning. When you see one CT player that far out, you really, like, it feels like an invitation. Like, already got one kill, let's go. But in the back of your mind, well, it could also be that there is a stack and they were really trying to sell the idea. So whatever it was on the Turkish side that made them choose this, they were absolutely right. Unfortunately, they give over an AK, which is not necessary.
That's lovely. That is really, really nice. That adds up. That's I think really a big victory in a round like this, because this is the round they already had everyone wiped out on the force buy. So to pick up both a Mac 10 and an AK is certainly quite nice, and they might be able to get more value here. We'll see if Aurora can live There's Jota, very weakened previously. More kills potentially here. Another player on the other side looking to try to capitalize. Mac-10, oh, runs out of bullets just in the nick of time. Woxic is going to die to the bomb at the very least, and the AK saved. So ultimately, that really is a fantastic result there for Big.
It is, but let's be honest, he could have had the kill with the Mac-10. The only reason he didn't is just because he was running and shooting for the first, 20 bullets of them.
That's it, Anders. With the Mac-10, half of it's just the fear factor. you got to be shooting out those bullets into the sky, all right?
Just that people get real worried. I get worried, but that's just because I feel like it's embarrassing to lose the Mac-10. So I'm like, no, I don't want to. What if someone's watching? 3-0, Aurora. You do love to see this. It's gonna be the 4th round now. Molotov down, but it lands inside of the smoke, as was the sign there by the CT side. So good protocols for Big early on. They get up on the half wall. We'll see if Aurora have any kind of counterplay towards this. Obviously, as we know by now, on Banana, still, the battle for Banana is such a critical part of it. It does make all the difference whether or not you can control it, both for the CT and the T side.
And both teams just instantly buying the AWP immediately here. Hyped here on the top mid defense from the short position, looking to see what he can find. Molotov there to take any CTs off the angle, which allows a little scale, or at least threatening that could be the case. And there is a full stack here almost. JDC falling back. You don't often see this on a full buy round that a CT would stack like this, and they don't have the info to do it, so it is kind of a gamble. Because Aurora, they're just running what would be a normal default, with the only exception that they don't have top banana control at this point.
I kind of hate watching Big run around this much, because for them to leave B is in itself weird, for them to then kind of rotate back this heavily. Now, it might be the right call in this moment, as they are trying to get in there. Jota goes down. Magic gets one in return, and it's a fallback shot from Woxic. They actually find JDC through the box back there, and Centaurus gets the headshot. Wicadia close, and you could tell Crimbo had absolutely no idea, and Hyped has to walk away from this one. Just no point in sticking around for it. Oh my. There are so many warning signs for me in this particular round for Big that I just don't like. I don't like the fact that they left the B bomb side that much. I don't like the fact that they over-rotated back. Even if it was the right call, I still think that the pressure behind it makes it look a bit panicked. What's even worse, you actually get 3 people at the bomb site and you still get wiped out. That's got to feel really awful. Like, well, what now,
Yeah. And also, again, because, you have this scenario where, the normal setup, well, I'll see, actually, if they can pick off Hyped here, that would be massive. Hyped is going to go out for it. Oh, no! Gets taken down by Wicadia, loses the ult, but yeah, the normal setup is, okay, we'll get that top banana control, we'll leave a player there, then we go for the mid control, we take that away, we push you back like they did with the Molotov and so on, and then at that point, the CTs don't know which side you're going, and that's the normal seesaw position to be in as a Ts. But because Aurora gave up banana completely, they never took that control. As far as they understand, there could be top banana control for the CTs, meaning that the CTs would know precisely what's going on, and they could delay them by having a spotter by the half wall, that's the typical setup. So it's kind of both teams kind of playing it kind of weird in that respect, in terms of the information game.
Tamsin, not really feeling it at the moment. Frustration, it's understandable. This is a fun trick. It became super popular for like a couple of weeks and then people stopped doing it, and presumably one of the reasons is when something actually is working, using it all the time can kind of, you're undermining your own ability to use it in the future.
Yeah.
I don't want to call out the saving strat for the major kind of meme, because, but sometimes you have something that actually works, it can be a bit dangerous, but they need to do it now. It is been spotted already, and they must know that that's the M4 that's in play here. Going to be walking straight into, they just do not care. They picked up once again by Tamsin, but there's a minute on the clock, so there's no pressure on Aurora to do anything. They don't have to force this.
Yeah. And it looks like that setup didn't yield the result they were looking for.
Yeah, I think the flashbang was too good to set it up with, right? So, good peek and everything. Again, bit of a stack at the B bomb side. Honestly, with the MP9 and the M4, you could make this work. I do like the idea of it. Big yet to win a round here on Inferno. With the back of the site, Tamsin unable to get more than the 1 kill. Kind of understandable, to be honest, but a bit of a shame too. 5-0 in favor of Aurora here. It's just going to be Hyped. They re-smoked this position. He should never get onto the site.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any value to be had But indeed, with that setup, you're talking about how it kind of went out of fashion for a bit, and still doesn't work, which, to my mind, is analogous to mullets. They came back in fashion, still don't work, in my opinion.
I really, truly... You must know, Dan, even just at a glance, you must know I know nothing about fashion whatsoever. I feel like it's, at one point, I've thought to myself, maybe I should give it a shot, but then I thought, like,
a mullet?
Yeah, a mullet. Well, it's not an option for me anymore, Dan.
I mean, it doesn't matter because someone's already photoshopping it, so... And you can probably do AI now. Don't even need the human labor.
That's true.
It's so easy to give you a mullet.
Listen, if we, we've got a Turkish team, maybe I could go to Turkey and get that done. I need the hair first is the issue, right? So it's too big of a process. It's really too much. I can't deal with it. I'm like a couple of weeks away from just going the Richard route, just getting rid of all of it. I feel like it's the better choice,
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Well, 5-0 start from Aurora. We saw that in the first map.
Yeah.
And we'll see if they can continue the momentum here. Again, it is a bit trickier on the CT side. It's a bit more challenging in terms of options. But Hyped pulls out the AWP. And this could be a great round to, if we follow Hyped and see exactly what the opening might be. Do they do something aggressive? Do we stay defensive? So far, Big have been losing out with the defensive game. They've been giving up too much information. And the opener is just passive 2-3 setup for Big, with Hypes more in the most aggressive position for the team. But the utility on this map, it makes AWPing very difficult.
Yeah, it does. I almost wanted him to push into the apartments just to kind of keep going, because I think you are right fundamentally. I mean, and this is a spiral that people fall into. It's going to be a explosion out of the apps. They're not going to slow this down now. Nice shot from Hype. He gets that first one. Bit of a crossfire here. The flashes are just everywhere. Nobody could see a thing. And look at the pathing. They run out with the smoke covering them from that lineup. QB might have saved the round here with a couple of good kills. It's Woxic now with the Tech 9 rushing him down as he was trying to get that reload in. Good setup for it. Woxic actually could win this. He's got an opportunity. He's got plenty of time. If they let him go, he could even escape to the B bomb site. That might be something that's worth thinking about for Woxic, but he's going to go straight for the plant instead. The pressure is on now. They need a round here, Big. 2 versus 1, the best opportunity they've had yet. And some great spam. All right, Tabson. Kind of taking the excitement out of the round for me personally, but, I probably don't care about that. They win the round.
Yeah, there's like so much like potential tension there. And it's just like, oh, it's just cool.
It's just cheating now.
Yeah.
Just cheating for the smoke.
I mean, if you're not cheating, do you really want to win?
It's a good question, isn't it? So that is the age-old question. But yeah, Tabson's been playing this game for a long time. I mean, he knows all the lineups.
Yeah, 100%. And with the Silenced M4, like you should. If you're purchasing the Silenced M4, one of the benefits that you get from the gun is you don't have the traces through the smoke. And so that's an advantage the CTs can have that is not accessible in terms of the buy for the Ts.
2 MAC-10s instantly makes me look at whether or not there are helmets on the CT side, which there is on everyone except for QB. But it just means he is vulnerable to a potential MAC-10 accident. They happen.
True.
But yeah, the smoke that was set up there in the last round to get down into the pit is really sick. I'd love to see that used more, because they were hugging the wall and running into the pit. And if they'd had, a little bit more luck, if QB hadn't maybe got both those kills, would have been kind of sick to see what they could have done with it. But
yeah. And one thing I'll make a note of again here, Anders, is we are still seeing Big opting to play very passive. And the thing, again, with playing passive is there's a lot of gambling, because the only way to not gamble is, or at least not gamble as heavily, is to have some way to get information.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing a lot of preemptive rotations where there's guessing, like JDC coming back away from B off of, okay, no fast timing towards the B site. Okay, now I'm going to walk towards mid. There's a smoke here, but that smoke could really mean anything. And Aurora have proven that. They are walking up B to set up outside of that while still creating the pressure towards top mid at the same time.
Matt just walking through into the archway here, so he knows JDC's running back. So now the rest of them are going to freeze on Banana, and they're going to wait for Magic. Oh, JDC crouches back into it. An awkward moment here. But somehow he's managed to dodge the play so far. And now he's actually looking for it. Did he bait him into it? Why is he looking now? That's so weird. That's such a weird thing for him to peek. maybe I missed something in this round, but it seemed like he almost wanted to bait him into that by running away and say like, all right, are you a little bit closer? But obviously, there's no way that he would have because he turned his back on him. He could have got shot down the first time.
Yeah.
MIBR maybe could have even had the kill there at medium range. Time's going to be running out, and yeah, it's going to be a kind of a weird beginning to this round. And I think this is sort of the best case scenario for how defensive Big are being on the CT side, because I do agree with your criticism. There are so many teams that play like this. They just never fight for banana.
It's the hardest thing to do well. And
yeah.
the downside is you spend utility and then you don't have the utility. And so some teams are not interested in playing that game. But I agree with you. It's intense to watch.
Well, I also just feel like it does. I can't find a better word for it, but the one you've already brought up. It's just feel like you're sort of gambling slightly on what's going on. Not necessarily a big fan of it, but see if Big can make it work going into the later rounds. So this time they are a bit more aggressive. You know, they're putting deep pressure on Banana. They're up on the half wall, I believe, with Tamsin playing there. Hype missing a shot, but it doesn't matter. He slaughters both of them as they turn their corner. What an absurd way to get into the game.
And that's beautiful. That was the aggression you were sort of requesting previously through the apartments with Hyped, and delivers there, rewarded. And Aurora in a spot now where they just need to find either an opening or some kind of damage. Can MIBR force a miss shot here? Has to know that this angle could be posted on by the AWP, and he thinks that Hyped is playing it deeper, maybe towards a graveyard position there, and instead Hyped is up close, not afraid. And another one for Hyped to finish off the round. Beautiful quad kill there for him, and Big. Okay, we talked about the momentum game. It might be coming back into Big's favor.
Yeah, you gotta hope so right now. Oh, he's such a personality AWPer, isn't he, Hyped? Like, you can see it when he's going. He was playing pretty decently on Mirage, but we didn't get to see enough of it. This is more what I like.
The confidence in that repeat is awesome because you are in a spot where you probably will die.
Yeah.
They didn't have anyone going through, getting boosted up the other side, but that play would normally kill you. But,
yeah.
So, like, love that.
Okay. Ooh. Let's go, Tamsin. Goes for a bit of a spray down. It will be 3 for the captain of the team.
Yeah. There is another potential positive trade-off to playing like hyper passive, maybe on the CT side. And now that I think about it, where perhaps the gambling is like, well, if we get it wrong, we get it wrong. We get to at least keep our guns. We don't spend a lot, and so that could be a dynamic too, given how sort of just fragile the CT economy is on this map. So that might be one of the additional justifications for that approach.
I mean, you're right. It definitely, especially on a map like Inferno, where the saves are called almost immediately.
Yes,
nobody's doing it. Yeah, that is definitely true. Timeout called now for Aurora, getting a chance to discuss things as they've suddenly lost a couple of rounds here. It's a very similar playbook from what we saw in the on the first map. You win, and then suddenly, oops, it sort of fades away again.
Yes.
Which is a bit interesting.
And I even have another point about the strategic approach there. Some teams, depending on how they'll be programming their practice, they're not going to be focusing on every map in the pool. They're going to be biasing more time to certain maps. Sure. And I could absolutely see for Big, they could say, okay, well, we know how to play Inferno. We feel like pretty confident playing this style.
Yeah.
But it puts more pressure on you to win your map. Obviously, they didn't win their map, and that's kind of what most teams, if they are playing, let's say we're going to practice 3 maps like crazy.
Yeah.
And we're always going to have like one map that we're probably not going to win in the best of 3. So.
I mean, I could see that they are playing. It seems like a little bit more of a standard kind of Counter-Strike. It's kind of working for them.
Yes.
4-5. I mean, now that they have the money, Hyped's picking up the kill right then and there. Jota going down at the start, and actually wants to move on forward. A little bit of a jump peek here, but he's so far forward. And with the rifle there to pick it up, that could have been such a sick setup for it. If they would have tried to rush down the AWP, they run right into the AK. They are rotating JDC away from the bomb site, though, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. One Molotov on MIBR to try and basically, burn out one position. I don't think they're going to slow. I think they're going to have to go. They have no flashes either, but this is going to have to be lightning fast for Aurora.
And they've got no top mid control. They are completely committed, and Big doing the favor of just, indeed, as you mentioned, floating the player back. All right, we'll see what Big can do here. Another smoke, but Aurora, they're so committed. They just really have to find a way through this, and they have to hit a timing. And they're going to go for it straight through the smoke here. AWP at the back of the site. Good entry there onto Tapsin, and the follow-up from Roxic is there. And now QB That's a great frag to get, but a 3-3 post plant is certainly going to be favorable for Aurora, but the positioning's not great, Anders.
Did QB not see that the first time around? I don't know if he got the kill, but he definitely saw the player planting. He might not have realized what was going on there. 3 versus 3. A little bit of a flash back and forth. A lot of damage as well onto the CT side here. And then lighting up with a grenade in hand. It's not a good start to the retake whatsoever. JDC and Crimbo in so much trouble, but they fought their way back. How are they getting the kills? JDC is so low on health already. But he's picked it up, and now the bomb's being defused, and it's a kit as well. No time left here for this one. Centaurus gets the one, but they will still lose the round. Yeah, look at how excited that makes them, and I can understand why. That is such a high-pressure round, pretty much all the way through. The fact that they even got onto the site to begin with is kind of impressive. They shouldn't probably have been able to do that as easily.
Yeah. And the opening there from Aurora is kind of interesting because they go like a mega fast pace to top banana. And that's really good at punishing teams that are trying to fight for top banana because you hit such a fast timing.
Yeah.
But because Big have been playing jungle quite passive, that's where that gambling style actually kind of pays off a little bit. Oh, Hype now going for that half wall peak, staying in position with the AWP.
Why is he doing that?
He falls off now, but yeah, he's looking for it. You know, he's looking for that quick no-skip if he can get it, but deep banana smoke, the first time we've seen that. So the question is, how do Aurora respond to the deep banana smoke? And Big making the typical rotation off the stack 4A.
Yeah, the 4-1 split here is super common, especially when you got the AWP in play over at B. You might as well try and do this. Although Aurora have been hitting that B bomb side quite a bit, so a lot on the shoulders of Hype here. I love the aggression in the middle. If you're going to have 4 players here, why not at least do something other than just waiting around and taking out Woxic? And again, Aurora, they probably just need to speed this up. Just throw some grenades quick. Don't spend time setting this up. He's going to push in front of it, but won't be able to hit the shot. I do like the decision-making here for the Turkish side. No delay. You've already lost the top mid position. Just go for this one. The bomb's going to be planted here, and they have a really good opportunity. No shot being wall-banged through this time, even if a lot of damage has already been dished out. Jota and Madja very low on health, but the bomb is planted now, and it's going to get interesting.
Crimbo does have the only smoke, I think, but he's coming in from Banana, which is normally maybe the spot you'd consider smoking. Has to find a good timing here. Crimbo, I think, is so key. His teammates now have to distract the players on site, but they are losing these fights too quickly. And I don't think Crimbo's going to be able to get the action he's looking for now. Comes on through, finds one by Paul, and another one from Crimbo. But there's not much time left there here, and they actually get the kill. And I think there's just enough time to get the defuse. Very nicely done there from Big. 6-2-5. And I mean, again, I feel like that was another round where Big are really playing on the nice edge, Anders.
They really are.
Because they kind of gave up. Because normally if you're playing 4-1, you at least have someone a bit deeper so we can spot the push coming, drop a smoke, fall back. But they played in the site, so it's a guaranteed a retake on the bomb site. So it's risky stuff here from Big, but it's working out for them.
The retakes are so good. It's normally one of the hardest things to do on this map. I mean, it's why people don't even try to do it at all, but somehow Big have found a way to get the job done, and now they're flexing a little bit. Now they're showing a little bit more personality. I do love this. It's Crimbo pushed down with an AK, missed opportunity, but Centaurus, I mean, he is still ready, and you saw him with the B-bomb side in the last round getting those headshots, so really nice to see him fired up. He's going to get traded out nonetheless by Hyped on the other side, who is still here. Gun barrel showing, but it doesn't matter. I thought they were trying to trick out the shot there. Wicadia just strafes straight into it. Ends up going down, and QB in another tricky position that you might not expect. You might not think this is going to happen. Hypes, again, he's taking some massive risks. Could have had the kill. The refrag being attempted. It's Woxic to get them back in the round, and JDC alone in the clutch across the map. They're going to smoke it off here. Aurora, they would love just one more round. I actually think they need one more round. I think 7-5 would be such a fantastic opening half here for Big.
Yeah, and especially after losing their map. We'll see if JDC can find that 7-5. Creeping into the site, HE, that all analysis position. Smoke there for some coverage across the site. One player graveyard though, and it's spotted, but a little bit too late. Jota able to get the kill, and that's the 6-6 as Aurora tie us up going into the second half.
Just not a bad round to win right at the end here. But again, that felt like it was on a knife's edge. There were so many awkward fights really throughout the entire first half where it just felt like everyone had an opportunity to do more. I guess we cut it around down the middle. We can't really, complain too much. I mean, it's a, still an open map in that sense. So I don't hate it, but I do feel like Aurora they had such an opportunity to start to run away with more than this.
Yeah.
That was true on Mirage, and still they managed to come back and actually win the map in regulation. I'm sure they're looking to do the same thing here, but I'm a bit worried. I feel like 6 rounds CT side of Inferno. I mean, I feel like there's a chance B could come into the second half and play really well. tabseN is a good caller on this map.
Yeah, I feel like the T side will be easier for them, for sure. I mean, just the fact that the way that they were playing the CT side, to me, it does suggest that it's not necessarily a map that they focus on a huge amount. And because again, like you were saying, a lot of these rounds felt quite awkward because Big weren't really trying to win the early game. They were trying to sort of play that gambling style and just see kind of, okay, we're going to rely more on these retakes. Hyped was in some great spots there with the AWP, to take some of those aggressions.
What's Demon Chicken doing?
You know what?
That's
a nightmare. Got to protect the chicken stand. It's got to get those egg prices down.
Not that one. I'm killing that one no matter what.
Oh, okay.
Once it starts looking at me with the demon eyes, I'm out. There's a lot. I can handle a lot.
The powers you could get from consuming the demon egg.
That might be worth a gamble. You're not wrong.
I feel like you're a person that likes to ingest strange substances, so.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Kind of surprised.
Haven't got that far yet into it. Now that you say it though, you've actually almost convinced me that. I didn't take a lot. I can feel, demon eggs. All right.
Demon Anders. Let's go.
Nice. It's not a demon egg, but a HE.
Yeah, it definitely feels demonic. Big getting chunked down before they make their way forward.
Now, there's 2 flashbangs with the dualies. The timing has to be pretty much exquisite for this to work out. And you can see Magius, he's already sort of thinking about it. I don't know what it was for Centaurus that made him walk back, but now they brought in another set of pistols, so quite a lot on this site already. Magic not going to try and block the smoke. Instead, setting up one and then a second flash, and it's a little bit off on the timing. Like I said, it had to be perfect. Now it's down to the mechanics alone. Centaurus gets one. Oh, he's so disgusting. A double kill for him. The accuracy, it couldn't have been better there. Magic, unfortunately, the same could not be set for him. He's going to get hunted down at the back of the site. And suddenly 3 versus 3. The bomb not yet planted. They want some more safety. They want some more space, but that's also risky. Might cost them a lot here. Woxic gets a shot on the QB and 2 versus 2. Oh, still no space. Where do they plant?
They have to. There's no choice. There's no time here. The plant does come through, and this is an opportunity now. But Woxic is 1 bullet from death. Jota, absolutely the player to make it happen here. Once Woxic moves to bait. Oh, another head is popped. Jota making his way forward. Woxic goes down. The human shield is out of the picture now. Jota, can he make another clean headshot onto tabseN? Backside, looking to get the money delivered to the team in space. tabseN gets it done. Beautiful there, and big. They put the problems onto Aurora.
That's so nicely played. tabseN just getting the info, noticing where the other player is, eventually getting the shot. There's a very tricky 1v1. I thought Centaurus did enough here. Oh, this kill is just... couldn't really get any better, but unfortunately, he needed some backup. Burst fire kill in the back, so kind of a rare moment. But there he is. Truly, he is the savior of German Counter-Strike. he's done it all. Also, for my money, he's got the most German name imaginable. Johannes, just sounds...
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you could... No, I've got nothing. I was going to make a joke about Johannesburg, but I didn't know how to make it work, so I'm just going to throw that one in the bin. But there's a lot of danger in this round here. It's not guaranteed for sure for Big as they make their way through apartments. The bomb actually in mid, so there is the opportunity, if they discover a stack, to go away from it. And the stack all the numbers there, on short. This is dangerous.
It's super dangerous. I'm so worried for Big right now. So many MP9s on the other side already doing a bit of damage. The timing is sick, though. Oh, they've absolutely crunched it. There was a moment there where it looked like they were going to screw that up completely, but the fact that they managed to get the mid portion of that push in just at the right time, it just obliterated the whole thing. So, Great news. Going to be an 8-6 scoreline here. By the way, just for anyone that's not noticing, Hype is 19-9. He's just so far away from everybody else at the moment, so... whatever happens here on the map, from my money, it feels like it's going to go to a third map.
Yeah.
And a lot of the credit is going to have to go to Hyped just from how he's been playing so far.
And something I think that's also worth mentioning about this matchup is that it is a lot more reliable in terms of using data for the teams to understand sort of some of the percentages as to how a team might play given certain openings. And that stack is definitely something I've seen on an eco round, or rather the force buy, I should say,
yeah.
the CTs quite frequently. And if you look at the way Big did attack it, it's like it really did seem like that was very set up for that. If the stack had been different, let's say more a stack on the site in pit, well then that split, the timing is going to be staggered.
Sure.
So then the CTs have a better chance. So it did really feel like they're like, okay, we think this is the most likely to stack towards A. This is the best setup to deal with it. And like you said, that's exactly what happened, and it looks beautiful.
Really, really well done. You don't have not a lot of window to try and do that either. Like if you're off a little bit on the T side with the timing there, yeah, it definitely will blow open. Here we go. It's a 2-round lead. Big. It's a really, really decent start. But they're not at all out of the woods yet. Boost up. Gonna get another boost so that they can boost on top of the smoke that will likely be thrown for the boost. It's a lot to really digest, isn't it? It says something about the meta game, like boost up on boost up on boost. See, Tamsin is going to be setting up for it, so we'll try and land that high ground. Oh, they block it as well, just to be extra annoying. I love it.
5-7 in position, peering over the top, over that smoke. You do need distraction to really make those plays work the best, so we'll see if that is going to be maintained here by Aurora.
I'm shocked that they're still going for this one big. They must have felt how many people were on the other side. Maybe they didn't, but they are cracking into this. Is going to be super dangerous. There's 5-7s, there's P250s as well at the back of the site. Bomb being attempted. Nicely done from QB. He faked it out. He didn't go straight for it. That's super well played. Centaur is not going to be happy about this one, so I was worried for nothing. Big had it under control.
Yeah, stop being a worrywart, Anders.
Is that a real thing, Dan? Did you make that up?
That's something they say in the UK. They call people, you're worrywart because you worry too much. Maybe there's like some old thing where that was like, centuries ago, they're like, oh, if you worry, it just gives you warts. That was like the explanation doctors would say, hey, man, you're worrying too much. No
wonder the Empire collapsed, Dan.
I know.
So,
hey, look, I'm trying to bring it back, Anders.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be a while before
bring that colonialism back.
It's early on, so it's like it's real early to do that, But I appreciate it nonetheless,
Yeah.
As with all things, once it goes out of fashion, it becomes fashionable again.
Yeah.
Just have to wait long enough.
The other thing is like if you can't win, just wait. How's the saying going? Like if you can't win, join them.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right. Yeah.
But I live in America now, so
that is true. Yeah. It's a good job. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
QB actually ended up with 4 kills in that round, so still he wasn't fighting the best of weapons, but
yes,
why not get him fired up? So Hyped isn't trying to carry this all on his own, because that might be the one weakness that they have at the moment. Big is what happens if there's a couple of rounds here where Hyped just gets taken out early on. We do have the AWP, but the rest of the weapons here, I mean, with the economy on the Aurora side, this is a super questionable round. They're going to be lacking a lot of the utility too. Trying to get into the round with a bit of a trick early on, but not succeeding. Okay, JDC picking up the weapon with low health.
Yes, a one and done, perhaps. Now that initial pressure, I mean, well, so Aurora with that, this is what you would wanted to see on the first half from Big on the CT side.
I think
if
so.
You're going to rotate off, like at least have that half-wall position so you can kind of see in enough time, because your job is to delay, and Magic has the smoke, so he'll spot a player, he can drop the smoke to block off the choke towards B, and that buys time for his teammates to rotate if they're coming that way.
He does saw the smoke earlier before he spotted somebody, and that was heard by Tamsin. So Tamsin knows that the smoke's already gone down. Now, he's not going to change his mind from the looks of it. He's only going to go anyway, so smoke up towards Lil Pits. They do have this double setup. Centaurus to begin with shuts down Crimbo. This is such a defense already. The fact that they actually got murdered before they even really got out. JDC, it's a nice shot, but there should be no more threat in this round. Hyped on his own, trying to punch his way forward. Gets the first one up on the box. I do like the position. He's going to take down WOXIK as well, but the backup is there already. Where's Madra? He could have been peeking here. The bomb has been picked up now. Hype, he actually has an opportunity. Repositions. He does get dinked. He's down low, and Madra does win the clutch, but I feel like he gave so many opportunities to lose that 1v1 just by how long he was waiting.
Yeah.
Oh dear, I was worried.
That's the thing. Like, it's so hard. You got to try to keep the element of surprise there, where they just don't know. And so if you make that step, then you give that up, and if you give it up too early, then your position becomes worse. It's a delicate balance for sure. But one thing that I like from Madra that you highlighted was how he dropped the smoke half early, and with the timing in the round, that essentially, if there was a T at the bottom of the round, at that point, if he hears that smoke, he's committing the team into the A site, and that's where the stack was for the CTs. So it's a way for Madra to basically incentivize them to absolutely hit that site. So I actually thought that was pretty cool from that respect.
It worked out absolutely beautifully for them in that sense, and I think they could have made their way out onto A, but the fact that Centaurus had that first shot through the smoke, I mean, we didn't really see that the first go around, but on the replay you could see he was just tapping away through the smoke, and otherwise, who knows what they could have done big if they hadn't lost the player that early on. It was kind of close towards the end. Still, from Big's point of view, losing that round in a 1v1 is still pretty motivating. You know that the economy on the CT side, it can't be good. All you have to do is win a round here, and you're probably going to bounce all the way up to 11 almost immediately. Yes. Close here with the MP9. Oh, it's an awkward spray.
That's not a good loss for them to take, because Big were in a spot also where there is a world where they need to consider challenging this banana smoke, because you have to figure out what do the CTs do behind this, and you have to threaten the CTs that you will disrespect the smoke. Otherwise, they can get free control there, and basically do this, where they just rotate everybody off, and if you hit a timing now, then WOXIK could be in some trouble. So we'll see if they go for that. They do show themselves. WOXIK misses the shot, and now the AWP has been discovered, and Big start to make their way to mid.
Yeah, they're just going to try and speed it up behind, but they are running into the stack here. A bit of a crossfire on with the MP9, absolutely chewing them up. Madra gets the last one there. It couldn't have been better. 3 in this round. He clutched the last one. He's had a miserable Inferno. He's only, after all of this, he's up to 7 kills. So it tells you something about how flat his performance has been. But he is one of those leaders that every once in a while, he just steps up and takes over a game. It's obviously not what you want out of a team like Aurora. You don't really want to see Madra ever at the top of the scoreboard, even though that does happen sometimes. But just individually, it's nice to see that he's having a couple of rounds here. And that was a straight reaction, like you said, to the AWP being over on Banana.
Yeah, and we'll see how the dynamic changes here. And it's a fast pace, a change up in aggression. Aurora going very deep. That is lethal there. Obviously, this is really nice against pistols sometimes, because you send out the MP9, you farm the money, and you can kind of just make a round feel way less stressful. So that's what they've done. The round's already over. The round is over, Rounders.
You know what? I like these kind of rounds. Get them out the way. We don't. I understand why the T's sometimes end up playing it slowly for these rounds, but it's not fun to watch.
Yeah. And it puts us into a really exciting portion of the map, because we're 9-9. Both teams have a CT size a little bit better, of course, but overall it's like kind of that scenario where the momentum could really happen at the right time for one of these two teams.
Yeah, there's a big opportunity. Hyped up to 22. He's still just so far ahead of everybody else in the server. It's going to get shut down, though. The boost up, they tried this earlier, if you remember, and it didn't really work out last time, but this time they defeat the champion there on the German side.
Oof. This is rough now, Anders, because if you're the T side, you kind of have to find a way to convince the CTs to not have 3 on B, essentially. But if you're Big, you've lost a player, so you're also feeling like you don't necessarily have the resources to now go into take over mid without potentially losing another player. Then you're potentially 3v5. So you have a really hard decision. Oh my god, and look at the nades. They're expecting them to just commit and be setting up for a set piece, and they went all that wrong.
That's the 3rd grenade that lands in that position. It's such crazy utility. we're in an aging Counter-Strike where the HEs don't really do a lot of physical damage anymore because they're just used to blow open smokes with half the time. And that's obviously because it's sick to be able to do that, but this is one of those times where just the damage alone works.
Oh my God.
Trying to go for the flank, and actually Crimbo was watching, but he was also sleeping.
Yeah. I'm thinking to myself though, and it's like, you're a 5v3. Why is the flank happening? You're giving them the one way out. But hey, it works out. So we can say it's a great play. Yeah, we can agree.
I think it's also an interesting play. Obviously, it would have presented a risk maybe if you'd have died, but also it takes away a lot of the confidence for Big. It's basically saying, we're right back in this game. If you're Aurora, that's the message that you're sending here. We've got boosts in the middle with the AWP. We've got triple nades on Banana. Yeah. You didn't even get to play this round. If you're Big, it's you got killed in the middle, and then you went on Banana and just got blown up. And also, I don't know exactly what the stats are, but I feel like the correlation between losing a player early on the T side of this map and going B is so high. It's such a common call to say, all right, 4 and 5, let's just go B. Like, it happens all the time.
100%. And again, it's one of those things where it's harder to take the mid control if you lose an opening pick like that. Yeah. So a lot of teams sometimes, if they're worried about like losing that dynamic on Banana, that's why they take top mid first, and then they do a later timing on Banana. That can be a little bit of a safer approach. It has its own risks because then it gives the CTs deeper Banana control, and if the CTs realize that and take that, then you have different problems. So you kind of have problems no matter what, and this is like the levels to the skill of an Inferno team on the CT side, and that's why it's so interesting to watch these dynamics and how teams mitigate these potential problems, because there are quite a lot.
Speaking of HEs, they've left them on the ground. Yeah. Now they're juggling them on over. Great work. Personally, wouldn't feel too good about juggling around the HEs like that. Even if normally you have to pull the pin. I just don't know if I'd trust that with my life.
Yep.
Wicadia goes down. It's not too explosives. Straight bullets to take him out of the round. Very, very important here. Big. They already know what it's like to lose the momentum and lose the map, you know, right at the end. I really thought they had overtime on that opening on Mirage.
Yeah, and it really felt the same here. It felt the same way in terms of where they were at, but now the vacuum of confidence. Santara's looking for that mid pick. Obviously, they are 45, and you really want to get something, but that's the risk. What a shot, though, from QB. From downtown, finds the headshot, and now there's even more desperation for Aurora.
Sort of a weird 5v3, because there are a couple of players that are low enough that it could change really fast. Jota is going to be on his own over here. 40 seconds. They are bringing the bomb back as well. Everything pointed towards the fact that this is going to be an A finish, so it will just be down to the M4 and how many kills you can get in that position. But again, you absolutely can. 30 seconds. This is all a bit of a distraction. It's just here. Jota around the corner. He keeps on spraying. It's a drive-by. He takes down JDC, and now the bomb is a little bit alone. Backup is being called for. They actually haven't even picked up the bomb yet. Crimbo's going to get the kill, and it'll be hyped to pick it up in transition. Oh, Jota, he's such a smart player. Even when he was on Sangal, I mean, you know, mechanically, we know he was good, but I thought there were so many decisions being made back then that already looked really strong, and you see how he almost played that to perfection, just couldn't get that last kill in there, but he really set up his team for it. Bit of an attempted retake here. They're at least getting a bit closer for Woxic, trying to see if they can find one of the early shots, and they absolutely can. They have a kit as well. There is a chance, even if the clock is already running down low. The spray is good. Hype goes down. Tabson trying to hold on to the round. He's already got the double. He can't find the headshot on Woxic. How? How did they get the retake in a 2 versus 3? Aurora just believing in it and getting another round on the board.
Sick clutch. So sick. Especially with the AWP coming in there for Woxic, that opening kill onto Pit. It just that just creates such an opportunity for the Palace player. That's the one problem position I feel like for the Palace player. And unless they double stack it, which they won't always do, now you're in such a good spot. That finds.
I almost wonder, Dan, I wonder if that's a 2-on-3 that's doable, because truly Big just don't even think it's going to happen at all. Like, they're not expecting for the retake to even be attempted to begin with.
Right.
And then they just lose it for that reason.
Yeah, if you're not peeking there from here against the AWP, because that's the problem. The problem is the AWP, but we can go into that later. We have that opening aggression on Banana once again. 3 players here for Aurora, throwing in those HEs, throwing in the presence, and then they double rotate off of the B side towards A, and Hyped actually gets a pick. So the players making the way from B are much needed, but still Big in a good spot here to potentially take this A site.
Bomb is actually leading the charge. tabseN, he's fully committed. If he dies here, the bomb is going to go down. It's going to be lost in front, so I'm a bit worried for that all on its own. MIBR making a bit of a jump up. He's actually so high above. Doesn't get the kill, and they'll take down Jota as well. Back at the site, tabseN, he's cleared it out with the assisted flash on Crimbo. Fantastic work to get that opening. Honestly, that was not easy. Even though the initial call for Big, I think, was absolutely fine to go for the A-bomb site. There were a bunch of ways they could end up losing it, but none of those play out. So smoke up, and Woxic is going to push through it. It's a nice little trick. Hype walks straight into the shot here. But still, 10-11. And just, I mean, even on any given round on this map, if you push early towards the A-bomb site, there's a good chance anyway that even if the CTs don't even stick at B, some of them just run over there anyway to throw grenades down, and they stick around for like an extra 5 seconds. So there is normally a pretty big timing window you can hit on the A-bomb site, but when you also get the kill, you know, on Banana, that window is maybe even stronger. And I think in general, like I do kind of like it.
100%. And I mean, what's interesting now too is that we have had some conditioning from Aurora onto Big, and that conditioning is a great shot from Hypes. And also lovely, but the conditioning from Aurora has been, we're gonna stack nades on Banana early round. So that convinces Big to play more of an apps and mid opening. So it opens Big up to being on the receiving end of aggression from the AWP in that area of the map. With that said, though, we're not seeing that. Aurora are still sticking to 3 players opening B, and Big aren't even leaning apartments either. They're just still hanging out top of T-Ramp. They're going to challenge the Smoke here, Anders.
Yeah, they will. Flash on over. MIBR, he can't see a thing. He's going to get blown up. It's such a nice setup for it, and they're going to keep on going here. They feel like there's a chance he might be alone. I would say the incendiary there actually confirms that there's a really good shot. No one is at the site. It's going to be the straight spray down. tabseN doing phenomenal work here, and Aurora slipping up right towards the end of the game. Woxic, he's pushed through as well. This is so dangerous. They're right in front. He does get the scope up, trying through, but he doesn't pull the trigger on that one. Maybe he would have had the opportunity. Wicadia goes down, and Jota's here, the only player left on the CT side, and he cannot get the spray down either.
Just a mad gamble place to try to save a desperate situation for Aurora there, and they've lost everything. Now their economy is on its back, looking unrecoverable at the worst point in the match here, 11-11, and there is just literally nothing here. There is an argument to be made to actually just full save here for Aurora, give up the 12th round to Big, essentially, so that you have at least a good buy going into the final round and force the overtime. And indeed, that's what Aurora are doing. They are playing for overtime now.
Yeah. Got one Zeus on Wicadia, got a couple of flashbangs on MIBR. And that's it. How did it happen like this? I mean, credit to Big. You could see on the scoreboard now, Hyped is still playing well, but he's not had that many kills since last we discussed it. But tabseN and QB have massively stepped it up. So he's actually finally got some backup. This is so sick. I hope we get a third map. I want to see both these teams really tested.
Could be a timing here as well, Anders, with this pop flash. If it hits, they're still scaling up. The T's just, this could be a perfect timing. When's the flash going to come in? tabseN! Oh, the flash is slightly too late. And tabseN gets to dodge it, and he mows them down. Oh, that was the one chance, Anders, and it was almost there.
So at one point, I started questioning how often does that flashbang actually work to get the kill? So I went back and I looked at, I think, all the top 10 teams on Inferno that I could be bothered to look at. I think it was about 10 teams that I must have looked at least 200 rounds, maybe more, to try and sort of see how many times does it actually play out that way. I think out of something like 200 rounds, I could find maybe like 15 or so rounds where actually when that flash is thrown, they get a kill straight away. Obviously, throwing the flashbang has other purposes. Like, even if you don't see anyone, which is the most common outcome, I think, is you flash and there's just nobody there. That's still great info for the CT side. So it's not like every flash you throw that doesn't get a kill is a wasted flashbang. But the correlation between that and kills, I feel like is way lower. Certainly, I was expecting it to be much higher when I went looking.
It's like roughly 5% success rate.
Something like that, maybe 5, maybe 10 on a good day, but it's just not as much as you think. And also the other problem, this timing was just off timing. A lot of the times, even if you get the timing down perfect, you run into the shot because the T's are holding it. They're just holding the angle.
Wox is going aggressive with the AWP here. This is the last chance for Aurora to get back in it.
Oh, yeah.
He's opening aggression, trying to dominate that mid position. But Big have been playing it the same. They just hold a lot of players top T ramp, sneak into the banana position. And Aurora have 3 players on the B site, not giving up anyone on this position just yet. But Aurora have no info. They see nothing. They were pretty aggro mid. They see nothing. So they're holding it, but Hype still gets the entry.
Mid-air, he clips Centaurus, who just wanted to jump for information. This is so sick. Can he get one more? Surely Wicadia is dead. It'll be JDC to get the finishing headshot. Jumping up Tabson. And it's an awkward battle for Majo. You could tell he was never going to feel comfortable there. So a fantastic take of the bomb side. I think Big have managed to do it. They're in a position to win this. Woxic and Jota, I don't even know what the T side would have to do to throw this one away. They would have to make some disastrous mistakes.
This is the weapon to do it with, though. There has to be impeccable discipline from Big not to peek the AWP. It's the one way you lose this round, is give Woxic peeks, force them to go deep into the crossfire, and at this point, oh, okay, well, Hyped, he doesn't care, Anders, and they're going to lock it in, 13-11. Big coming back on Inferno after giving up their pick on Mirage. And indeed, we're going to 3.
That is really, really well played. And Hyped, obviously, I think he ends at 28 kills. So fantastic stuff for German Counter-Strike. We do love it. The panel is ready to break it all down for us, too.
It is super exciting. It is something where, you know, you got to have something to get you back in after a break, get you pumped up. And we should be pumped up because we're going into Dust2 between these 2 sides to decide the winner of this series, going all the way. And I am really curious to see how the AWP battle is going to be, because both Woxic and Hyped have been hitting some shots.
Yeah, I think this could be a really, really big part of this map. But we have to get through the pistol first. Smoke down, Centaurus doing his best to try and see if he can block it, but actually it's going to land on top, so nothing to block that one. It's everyone's new favorite smoke on this map that lands on top of the doorway there. They are going to be going out long, so Majo will be there. He's got some backup in Jota, but still not easy for Majo. He has to stay alive for a couple of seconds before the backup can really play itself out. He's in the pit, and they are getting drawn closer. USP's at range. They know the danger. I don't know if they know for sure that Majo's down there, but they're certainly trying to look for it here. It's a bit of an awkward beginning. Majo, he's not even fired the gun yet. Here we go. Shooting him in the back. All he gets is the 1 kill, but it's a very nice setup. Aurora, absolutely ready for this one, and Big. They didn't even get into the long fight, really. I mean, getting on a long is not the hard part. It's getting up to the A-bomb side.
Yeah, that's definitely the battle.
I had no idea.
Beginning, yeah, I mean, got the silencer on there as well, so it's perfect. What a perfect setup. And Aurora start off with that money. MP9s on deck for 3 players. That allows Wicadia to just have a little peek into the lower dark position before deciding to leave once again. And I mean, it's so hard to get anything done here on the T side. You don't have any weapons for range. Got Centaurus looking for the lower dark timing. Where do you go? What do you do if you're Big? And
it has to be all on that one deal, right? So you're hoping that Crimbo can have some sort of a breakthrough, and that's probably what it is. Although Aurora Smarty are playing it very far back. So Wicadia, sick of waiting. Spot out at least the 1 kill here. Yeah, he's so not worried about this. Hasn't actually reloaded yet, which is, I guess, an interesting choice. 13 bullets. He's pushing into them and will ultimately get taken down. Probably not necessary. Could have played it more defensively, but if they can make up for it here, it's not going to be the end of the world. But moves off forward. That's an M4 going down. I really don't like this.
Okay, so they've given up the M4 and an MP9. Here comes the flank top mid. Tapping away. M4 can be sent from QB onto a healthier player potentially, but they're going to keep it for now. There's the Xbox jump up punished. 4 HP. Looks like we will have things going back as they should, but certainly an interesting choice. I felt like a lot of players there for Aurora just going solo mode? Because you have the 2-4s. You feel like, okay, you're playing those at range. MP9s can hold the close positions, and then they can't be challenged.
Even if this works out for them, I don't like it. It just makes me uncomfortable to watch.
The only thing that I can think of is that you're trying to win confidence by taking individual plays.
Probably,
so from a decision-making point, it's not correct, but it shows it could be a window into their mind a little that they really felt terrible about how the Inferno match went, and tabseN's going to make them feel even worse. What a catch there, standing in the flames. Headshot onto WoxIK, and now it's a 4 versus 5. Aurora early are in trouble.
That's a really sick spray from tabseN. It's not always that easy when people are running sort of across your screen in that way. Molotov to get rid of WoxIK in the position, or to get rid of Wicadia actually in the position. WoxIK's dead, obviously. It's going to be a big opportunity right now for the T side to get something cooking. Early smoke up for the cross. That's towards CT spawn. It's very common to do this, just to bait out some utility or see how many people are in there. They're going to set up the smoke on the other side too, which can be used in many, many different ways. Sometimes the Ts will just go and wait inside of the smoke down there in the middle. This time they're going to be forcing the peek out from MIBR because he really needs to know something. They have no information, so he wants to try and get it back. It's going to be Crimbo going through. Taking a leaf out of Team Spirit's playbook here, where Chopper is going to be playing this kind of position. Jota is aware, actually. It's kind of sick that he's looking for that. So we'll take down Crimbo, even if he took a lot of damage himself. Centaurus, could they call his number? That smoke is anything but perfect.
Yeah, but if they have the numbers... Oh no! The run boost failed. Peeking onto the position, Xantares gets the lineup, but... And also, Hype's going to kill QB, so... Oh my goodness, Jota also taking down tabseN through the smoke, and now we've got problems here.
There's 10 seconds.
Bomb is down, and this just has to be a survival game for Jota, and oh no, there's just no time. Is there time? There might barely be enough time here. I think there might just be enough, 3.5 seconds. Bomb. Oh my goodness. Oh, I could not have been closer there. That's insane. What a crazy end to the round, Anders.
JDC, he thought he was running to get the kill. He made the choice. He had time for the bomb. He could have easily run back and picked it up. He thought he could run and take down Jota at the end instead. And then he changed his mind halfway through that and decided to run back. And then there was no time. That is a sickening way to end up losing the round here. Because Big, up until this moment, they've done everything right. I mean, the fact that they lose so many players here is obviously in itself kind of devastating. Look at Jota just picking them apart, but there was time. There definitely was time for a regular bomb plant. No stress at all, and now instead, Big in some trouble, pushing their way out long and right into MIBR and WoxIK, who are just ready to receive.
The only positive, I suppose, is that Big are at least accruing the round loss bonus, so they will have a very nice buy going into the next round. But yeah, for both sides, it's felt like a very messy start on Dust2 here. And we'll see which team is able to kind of find a more stable footing as the rounds progress. And Jota's in a great position to maximize the weapon advantage that he currently has.
Just about not losing too many rifles here. If you lose the MP9, I don't really care about that. Just don't give over anything else to the Big side. This is such a brutal start for the Ts. So Wicadia sneaking around the middle. He's not really had the most explosive start to the map for himself. Could see he's throwing out some bullets. Okay, all right. It's a bit of style at the end. You can appreciate that. Nobody dies on the CT side either. This is looking really, really good at the moment. And it's just especially, I think, in the context of the fact that they're playing on the CT side, which I think sometimes can be kind of difficult. You end up with the same position, really, that you do on Inferno a lot, which is you need to take bigger risks to try and find information on Dust2, and it can backfire a lot.
And if you do have bad economy, you've got like almost no options that are remotely good. But now the orbs are coming out. We talked about how the WoxIK versus Hyped battle could be a defining feature of this matchup. And there we go. All right, on cue, WoxIK taking down Hyped. He was looking for that.
He was. And that was a trick by Hyped, right? He gets the he takes the kill when he's on the right-hand side, then he goes back to T-spawn, relocates to try and play on the left side instead, hoping that WoxIK wouldn't be aware. And the fact that he is aware, that's something you could only do with a preparation. That's something you do when you know, all right, I've seen him do this trick before. I'm going to be ready. That's really interesting.
An AWPer knows the moves of the other AWPer. The mind games giving it a decisive early edge here to Aurora. And now, Aurora, they have 3 players on A, so definitely able to deal with anything there. I mean, it's just a catch-all setup, 2B, 3A. Mid's somewhat vulnerable, but you got that player advantage, so you're not really too worried about that. And it's on Big to try to find another opening or another opportunity at one, and this is it. Tabson picks up the AWP, taking matters into his own hand. Definitely a very good player on that. AWP with the flash coming in, and the MP9 from Wicadia is absolutely sublime. And now it's a 5v2 for Aurora.
Flashbang thrown from just inside of the B-bomb site could not have been better. Woxic in position. They haven't lost a single player yet here, Aurora. They had a flawless round in the last one. Now they've stolen another AWP. So now technically double upping on the CT side. Crimbo, 0 kills on him. Not that anybody else on the big side has really anything to boast about. And he's going to try and live out the round. It's a super dangerous position to do that in, by the way. If he dies after the clock has run out, then obviously won't get the loss bonus. But yeah, slightly repositions. Sick with the MP9 kill. With the flashbang there, it'd be fun to see from their point of view. I don't think they have any chance of dodging that one.
Yeah. And I like how you mentioned, like, nothing to boast about with the top like Fragger having like 3 or 4 kills. And it just reminds me of like that type of toxicity that you run into in like ranked where one player's like, just talking down to you because he's got like 3 frags and you have like 1 or something. And I'm like, bro, it's like 2 rounds have happened. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. It's also as if though being higher on the scoreboard anyway excuses like a really big mistake that someone's made. It's like, why are you talking to me? Like, of course, like, because you still made a mistake. Like, that's why. That's why. Yeah, this is pretty overwhelming. This flash just ruins them. Nothing left to fight for. Aurora with a 5-0 start. Now, we've seen this before, and we've seen also Aurora give up this kind of a lead kind of out of nowhere. I think that's what Big are going to be hoping for.
Yeah, and I think you highlighted the problem too, like the other AWP getting picked up. It's kind of less gimmicky than you may consider it to be on other maps. And that shot and a half there from Woxic to take down Tabson, looking to try to find position, but can't get it. Now the Deagle of JDC and the AK of Crimbo are the focal points for Big.
And with or without Tabson actually getting out long, it did look like Big there wanted to be fast. So the fact that Aurora slowed them down with utility is just it's a great fundamentals. I mean, this is what you really want to see out of a CT side of this caliber, but sometimes you don't see it and you end up taking way too many fights. They slow it down, playing at range here. That's a fight the AWP should be winning every time.
They can't even scale off of the missed shot because there's too much distance and there's no util. So like, okay, yeah, we actually can't go here, so I'm going to bet out the op shot and we're going to peace out. But they're going to reroute to Upper Dark.
It's an interesting reposition as well for Wicadia. Goes up on the scaffolding. So again, he's just trying to keep it a little bit hidden exactly where he is. There will be one deeper Molotov. Oh, but now that Wicadia is here too, it's just not going to get any easier. Takes away a lot of the attention. AK still there on Jota, just crouched down, ready for them. It's a nice good kill there. Wicadia still in a little bit of trouble. Some pressure is coming on. He's got the Tech 9 out, trying to duck and dive around and running out of bullets on the other side. I think it was JDC, which means QB. Against the world, 28 seconds, trying to get another Deagle headshot in. It's not going to be allowed for Aurora, picking up the round, no problem. They will save the 2 AKs because those are the ones they cannot rebuy. So that does make sense. 6-0 in their favor.
Yeah, no, Wicadia on the AWP again. So I think an interesting thing that Big can maybe take from that round is that, hey, Wicadia is going to be playing that AWP on the B site. Does quite a few whiffs there. Quite a few whiffs, so that might be a potential target. If they were to try to explode either through a B split or just from Upper Dark, they may actually be in a spot to overwhelm.
And honestly, anyway, doing a B split against an AWP is typically like a really nice thing to be able to do because you can typically get quite close to the B bomb site through middle. So it's a likely thing, I would say, anyway, just having a bit of a read on that. The problem is, for them to do a B split, they need some control. Madger's pushed up very far. But really what they need is catwalk and mid control.
Yes. That cat control is That's the ticket. That's the Dust2 T fundamentals. You know, get that cat control. You know, around the 1 minute mark, you've got enough time to start seesawing the CTs. They don't know precisely what you're doing. You can drop into mid. You can push to the A site. That's where you get all the control.
You could see that Aurora are also thinking about a potential B split. And they're actually going to turn that 3-man stack at B into, or want it to be a little bit more offensive. MIBR is thinking about this. QB's been holding this for, oh my god, he's going to be so mad. I'm actually mad on his behalf.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And now they're being forced into the B split. And again, that 3-man stack, they get the kill on Wicadia, and they're going to think that's it. They're going to think, all right, there's only one player left on the B bomb site. Let's go for it. But that is not the case. Still 2 here, 35 seconds. The crossfire with Centaurus being inside of the site. This could still work for Aurora.
The detail slowing them down. It's going to feel really awkward here, but JDC coming in from the window. That's the timing. They go through upper dark into the site, scaling onto Jota. What can he find here? Absolutely nothing. Woxic from over the top is going to go down as well. Great entries there from Tapson. And now MIBR in a 1v3 retake here, coming in from the upper tons, and it's just going to be completely just decimation. Big, making that B play work.
I'm confused about the fact that Aurora didn't think they should check the window. Jota and Centaurus over at the B bomb side. I don't know why none of them are aware that that could be happening, because they had no other calls from anyone on the team. That does seem like a bit of a missed opportunity for them. Thought that was going to work out better if I'm going to be honest. So yeah. I guess credit to Big for finding their way through that round. I don't think that's an easy round to win, to be honest.
I think part of it's down to how awkward the setup was. They went through a 3-man play, tried to go aggressive, didn't commit to it. What a find. Woxic is just proving right now that he has Hype's number on understanding these mid timings and plays against the T-Orba.
Yeah. Boost up. QB doesn't want MIBR to push forward, although in a 4-on-5, I don't know if MIBR is going to ever feel the need to do that at this stage. But obviously being up on the boost already from the T side is a sick way to try and catch those CTs.
Absolutely.
Hyped. He pretty much dragged Big through that second map, but yeah, like you said, he's been shut down really hard by Woxic at the start of this one.
Yeah. It makes sense, you know, Woxic, Dust2, I mean, name a more iconic duo. And you know, Big up in a position where I think it still feels like B's probably the best play. Again, what's interesting is they haven't been forcing the cat like respect, and they do really need to get this peak. They need to deal with this peak before they do anything, before they decide to go B or A, and looks like they might go for the run boost here across to bait the shot. But again, that's the second run boost that we've seen failed on this map so far. Woxic takes a shot, misses, gets the info.
They're going to go quick with it as well. Oh, nearly shot in the back. That would have been something, but Centaurus actually goes down as well. As MIBR trying to get here. They will... Some friendly fire in the mix, but I guess it doesn't matter when they get the kills. And actually, Aurora kind of have to be out of money. So, I think we could have known that was going to be that fast of a catwalk take to begin with, because the only reason you would try to either run boost or flash array around the corner there is because you want to be fast. Because there is a much easier way to get rid of the AWP on the CT side, which is the Molotov the position. And they had Molotovs, but also the Molotovs will slow you down.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be throwing them if you're going to be fast. So I think that was always going to just be like really, really quick. And honestly, it's a great call for Big. Even if the run boost is another hilarious fail, it still plays out well.
And for those of you that are like, oh, you know, why not just like flash it? It's because the CT AWP can just essentially kind of like stand a little bit further left, peek into the wall, and you can basically play a really sick anti-flash spot, and then it just telegraphs the push. So you actually more so guarantee that they'll get a kill off of it. So the Molotov, it has to be the play to make it completely safe. And another thing that's interesting, Anders, is that Big have shown on all their T sides that they just want to shove a site. And so, you know, they're often not, especially if they lose a player early, they're not going to be playing a map control game. So in this particular case, in a 5v4, I feel like Aurora should make an adjustment to try to just play passively. Like, give up mid, give up forward positions on Cat, and just expect the rush to be hitting you.
JDC trying to get out long, lucky to be alive. Flick there from Woxic. He really is in a bit of a mood here on Dust2. But not the kill. So some long control with Crimbo in the middle. I mean, you might as well turn it into just a normal kind of long play. We haven't seen even one of those get close to succeeding. Aurora's been defending this position really well, and looks like they want to be pushing forward into it. And I kind of understand why. I mean, they've got 3 people here. They got the AWP for backup as well. Flashes around the corner. They're pushing into it here. Spray around it is Centaurus going down, and somehow Woxic hitting none of the shots here. Just the MP9 left for Madja, but they will check it. Just sat with a knife in his hand.
It's like the mouse and keyboard are disconnected at that point. Oh, HD connected, and
if we get a replay of that from their point of view, it'll look so funny. Like Madja just sat there, like, squatted down, like, oh, I'm just hiding, guys. Don't worry.
It is interesting too, though. Like if we look at how this map has played out, almost exactly the same as the other two maps in terms of the opening, 5 or 6 rounds, we're looking like Aurora just on top of the world, and then suddenly, like, lots of shots missed, lots of plays are awkward, people are kind of missing, you know, covering certain positions. Even that position right there, Aurora had 0 presence mid or cat, and all 3 players are just looking only at long for a very long period of time, where there could absolutely be a timing of cat as well. So, and also in that sense, Aurora play into Big's game. Again, Big want to shove positions with lots of players. They prove that time and again. That's where they find their strength, and Aurora are so far struggling in those moments and not finding a good way to deal with it.
I did like the theory of pushing into long to fight this for the CT side. Like, there is an opportunity, but I think they just missed, unfortunately, some of those early shots there, so didn't get what they needed.
You're right, though. Like, Woxic could have even had, like, a triple kill, like, just off of Like, the lineups were unreal. It's actually crazy that there was no connection there.
So investing a little bit into this round. They've got the AK on Jota. They've got the scout there on Wicadia, so they're trying to do something to stay dangerous. When actually, Tabson going down at the beginning, that's maybe a sign to worry. QB wants to push forward as well, but if they don't lose anyone else, it's not a big deal. You can see Crimbo trying to walk on out. Centaur is very, very close. If he would have landed that shot, that could be the beginning of the end here for Big. But they fought their way back, and nobody's worried any longer. Madja and Jota left, and again, saving the AK, still a pretty big priority on the CT side here. So just try and get that job done. Big should be able to find 4 rounds. They just start every map so far really far behind Big, and they have to claw their way back.
And it's weird too, because when they just win that one or two rounds, it feels like Aurora start to fall apart a bit. So it's really interesting so far that we are having that that fractal.
Okay.
QB dying, or rather getting the kill into Madja.
Just the spin around, frustration. We've all been there.
And now it's also looking to hold on to the AK. AK on Dust2 for the CT. Really nice. I guess really nice anywhere, but
it levels the playing field so much, doesn't it? When you can get it on the CT side. All right. They're getting back a little bit here. Crimbo still would love to see more output from him individually, but the team as a whole is kind of warming up into it.
And there's a timeout coming online here, and for Aurora. And it does feel as though Woxic has been finding success, generally speaking. Like, the majority, we've seen him get the opening pick on a multitude of rounds.
Yeah.
And so he's been doing his job in that respect. It just then becomes the case that Aurora's setups in response to the opening pick tend to put them at sort of a disadvantage as to what Big like to do in the 4v5. And so we'll see, what the discussion amounts to here for Aurora, because it doesn't feel like they necessarily need to do anything different for the opening.
Yeah.
So it's going to be curious to see what their interpretation becomes.
Yeah, I mean, they've got 6 rounds. I really don't think it's hard to criticize them too much. And again, like you said, if Woxic can just keep finding another couple of openings here, they should set them up very nicely. But there is a risk, obviously, with the money being what it is for Aurora at the moment. If they lose this round, they probably lose the next one too, and things get kind of weird from there on out. QB, early elevation to spot any kind of aggression. No real fights happening at the beginning, but they've got the rotation on the CT side for the middle. They've already got 2 people towards B now, 2 in middle. They are very, very sure that this is going to be some sort of aggression coming out towards that B bomb side eventually. Smoke up, and the grenade just goes a little bit too far, which doesn't give Centaurus the information that he would have wanted. That's very nice.
Almost just peeking there into the AWP. Now, if Aurora can just prevent... Oh my goodness, I'm so blown away that Wicadia re-peeked that. I was about to say, if Aurora can just force Big to have to push and not give them anything, like Big are running down the clock because they're looking for a pick. You can kind of turn that against them, but we'll see what they decide to do. They're regrouping towards mid at the moment. And they did get the pick on the B player, so a B play is the most likely.
Yeah, but they changed their mind. I think they changed their mind. Might be because the QB's out long, but or at least waiting for long. They wanted to go for it, so they're throwing all the mid-split grenades, but they're not going to be going mid. They're going to be going catwalk instead. Wow, that's a very late mid-round call coming out from Big, but it is actually sick. Aurora are not ready for this one. You know that because Maggio was pushing out long, and they've got 2 people on the B-bomb side still. They really are not expecting this at all. That's a very nice call out of Tamsin. All the way up until that point, they absolutely were doing a B-split. You could just tell from the way that where they were. Like, there's no question that was the plan. But
and that pick kind of sells it a little bit. But yeah, I forgot about the QB position indeed, and it's so perfect because QB's position is only activated because Maggio has to find info at that point as to what's going on long, and so it's just it's crazy. But the thing about like Wicadia crossing back into that angle, it's almost like you're trying to get too tricky.
I think, I mean, yes.
It's like, oh, I want to like get across this angle, and then he won't. They just cleared this position. I can retake it, and you know, are you doing too much? Is the question.
Yeah, and I mean, he's been playing pretty well, but for sure in his mind that he's thinking, you know, oh, he won't see this coming. But yeah, hyped. He's been seeing a lot.
Dust2 is just one of those maps as well, where if your CT life, your first life is so important because if a good team that understands Dust2 gets that early pick on the T side, it's just so easy to play that position correctly.
Round number 12 coming up here in Aurora. They get to save a little bit. They get a rebuy for the rest. They will not have the AWP going into the final round of the half, but doesn't mean it can't be won. They are ready in case there was a long spawn, which was not the case. Smoke all the way up on top of the doorway. Took a while before people figured this out.
I mean, it's money. It's a money smoke for sure. No, I was just like enjoying that we had like multiple ults because Big have so much money on the final round. They had like 3, I think they were using for a moment. Ooh, looking for that early pick again. Will it be given by Aurora? That's their job. Don't give the early pick. Force Big to run the clock down and then have a hard decision to make.
The smoke being set up here, and Jota's going to try and play in front of it because you really don't want the T's to sneak out. Otherwise, they can, you know, jump up on the box, and there's just a bunch of positions you can't afford them to be in. I'm saying we don't even care about checking it with a Molotov. That is a grenade. That is really a grenade. Going to be an incendiary coming down on top to really push them back. And there's only 40 seconds left. They're actually in a little bit of trouble here. Santaris has another HE. Oh no, Dan. I'm worried for the Germans.
Yeah, all those M4s now become AKs.
Oh my god.
Oh, huge damage. Oh, good position for Xantares. Really good position for Xantares. These big players are struggling to make their way through. Xantares with the cleanup, Matcha with the assist on that one as well. And Crimbo now 15 seconds to I don't know what at this point as he creeps his way around. Looks to find maybe some extra stats, but that's a 7-5 scoreline. Aurora finding one right at the end there, but looked a bit desperate.
Woo. Yeah, we get just a glimpse of what Santaris could do. I like that. But you know what? Honestly, I still think this is a very successful first half. The fact is, it could have been way more for for Aurora. It could have been so much more impressive, but it's not bad. I still think they're in a good position to win the map from here on out.
Yes.
Going to go to the T side now, obviously, to play the grenade usage there for the catwalk. And obviously, it's a bit of a callback to what we saw in Inferno, where on the TT side, Aurora's grenade usage on Banana was so sick.
Yes.
They absolutely blew out. Like, Big still ended up having a great T side, but it was really impressive. And you saw there's a glimpse of it here. That's a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see what the side switch really does, because it is one of those things where, you know, I feel like you'd imagine Big would have a much easier time on the the T side than the CT side. That's generally been the trend of this series as well. And so, you know, having a porous start on their T side, they've got a lot of recovery to make. And if they don't win the pistol, which has been so far split evenly on all the maps, that is going to be a huge problem, I think, for ODDIK. They absolutely must find a way to win a CT pistol on Dust2. And honestly, it's one of the harder maps to do it on.
I think there was 2 smokes. Did Jota sell them and buy armor? He did. Okay, so just the one smoke. Sometimes you have 2 smokes, you can do some fun things with a cross, but looks like they are going to be taking the bomb into upper dark anyway, so might just be to set it up and see if they can sort of run out behind it. Obviously, okay, there it is. The cross smoke, just the one. Oh. Did he just head it up into the site? Hype's going to get a kill as well. This is kind of sick. The bomb is on the other side. All of this is just for show, but obviously when they get the kills, it's going to make a big difference. Nicely done from Crimbo. Delete Centaurus before he can even really get into the fight here. Jota's still able to do the job. Will only fake it. His teammates are trying to get there, but Jota's doing it on his own. Could he get another one? Actually, QB's very low on health. This is kind of dangerous. They kill Woxic on the other side. There's still a minute in the round. Down to 8 bullets. He hasn't had a chance to reload, and now he's getting shot in the back and blown up. The backup never arrived for Jota, and huge for Big to pick up this round.
That was so close. You're right. If he gets that 1 kill, he can then safely take the other 1v1 in the site. And then who knows if that's a win, and then it's like a 1v1 after plant. So crazy situation. I love the header on the smoke as well. Just like, who are you, Messi? What's going on? And that's going to be the much needed pistol for Big. But and actually, interestingly, Aurora not getting the bomb down, decided to full save. I actually like that a lot on this T side here.
Yeah, I think it's without the bomb plant, it's just too risky, isn't it?
Yeah,
we do see teams do it. But I think doing it when the scoreline is this close, I just think this would be a sign of desperation, you know? I feel like the sort of thing you do if, you know, if you're so far behind anyway that you're like, yeah, I'm probably not going to win this, so...
And that does too, it's just too difficult, I think. And also, the trade-off too is that you give the other team a bit of starting momentum.
Oh, yeah.
And as opposed to immediately getting in there with the AKs, they might not have... You know, they may not be in a position where they want to just AWP immediately. We'll have to see. I think you should. And in fact, they've been showing that they want to. Every single time Hype's combined AWP, it's coming online.
I mean, to our benefit, I would say. Both Woxic and Hype have been really fun players to watch throughout the series so far.
And he did farm a lot of money there with the MP9, so... Looking for revenge. Looking for revenge. No AWP on the other side, though.
There was... In my mind, I thought Woxic would somehow just peek it and win that fight. Like
That would be sick.
But it's just my imagination getting the better of me. I feel like we had a very interesting lack of just long takes in the first half.
Yeah.
I think it's normally like it's like the second thing that people do behind the B splits, which are probably like the one of the more popular things.
Yeah, it's nice to condition the CTs to have to either challenge it or decide that they can't, and then open with cat setups.
A type in the middle and then back to defending B. He's the only presence on the B side, and he still gets the opening kill of the round. So
yeah,
says something about how active he is. Good flash to set up this one. Centaurus really dropping low. Wicadia even lower, as Crimbo is just being a bit of a menace to the forefront. Could have fallen back, but decides to stand his ground with the deagle in hand. Weird and awkward fight happening here, and somehow it's the FAMAS coming out on top. AK for Woxic just not connecting, and Centaurus, they know that he's here, so don't have to guess too much. Heard the drop down there. But yeah, I think the... Right.
It is Centaurus too, so you almost expect him to just click that head reactively, but...
He might have been able to, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. It's going to be a couple players coming lower dark for Centaurus to feast. And he'll turn away looking for the trade frag, but looks to the wrong direction. And Big actually looking like they're in a really good spot now. And
I think so.
You know, Hype's getting that opening pick. And it's so interesting because you can see that philosophy. We saw it on Inferno. It gets the opening pick. And like you said, they take this to the bank. 1-4 setup after that.
Yeah.
So...
But it should tell you something about the level of confidence they have in Hype as an AWP player, because it's one thing for him to be playing alone on B, but then typically he would have somebody in middle. The fact that he's playing both those positions, just either they had a crazy read, or more likely they just really believe that Hype can. And why wouldn't they after Inferno?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's doing it again. He's up to 15 kills. He's out-fragging everyone on the server, you know, one more time. If Big end up winning this, there's no question that Hype is going to have to be the MVP so far. There's like no one else is in competition for that at the moment. Smoke up in the middle here. Big with a 1-round lead, but things are getting real scary for Aurora at the moment.
And you know, Big's setup here is pretty good if they continue to play passive. Now we get Tabs are moving back towards CT, afraid of potential for the B split, which does actually open up Cat here for Aurora, and they are likely to rush this. This is the most common thing to do with a buy like this for the T side.
Yeah, I love it. But unfortunately, the grenade usage, again, for the CTs here, coming in pretty strong. Counter flash as well. Hype trying to relocate, but Tabs already gone down. All right. Going to be up to Hype to try and see if he can control this. Bomb probably will be planted in this round, to be honest. And for Hype, it's just about staying alive. Just don't die, because then the retake will be a lot harder. And I love the respect that he pays here by just falling back. Nice little flick, and JDC maybe could have won the round right then and there, but it doesn't really matter. I think, yeah, so Woxic's running away. He already knows he can't fight for the afterplant. It's not going to be possible. So he just lets them defuse, happy to take the AK away. Hype playing everything pretty much perfectly in this round.
Yeah, Big did a great job there. You know, this is exactly what we talked about, where we saw an issue where it was misplayed by Aurora. Aurora in the same spot on their CT side, and Woxic was playing in a very forward setup. When again, Cat was very much the most likely player. It's like the most likely thing to go wrong is you get caught playing too aggressively, and if you're playing passive, as we saw in this round, it's very easy. You get a lot of chances to hit your shots. You can buy time for your teammates to come and help you. And that is, and even if they get the plant, it's okay because you win the round on the CT side and you protect your economy. So definitely good stuff there from Big. And right now, Anders, I mean, we've seen the momentum shift one way or the other a lot in this matchup, but it really feels like Big are beginning to be in a position to run away with this, unless we get some real tempo change from the T side of Aurora.
I'm super scared for them at the moment. I must be honest. I have it, even though you look at the numbers, it's just a 2-round gap.
Yeah.
But the second half has felt really flat all of a sudden. I'm getting nervous. Woxic. Now he's picked up the AWP. Maybe that's an opportunity for a bit of a change. Neither AWP are actually hitting that shot.
Yeah. So Woxic going to have another go at this. Is Hype's going to stay around the ego battle between the AWPs. He's gonna play. He's going to be the chicken. Well, the thing is, the equation doesn't work the same both ways. If you are the CT AWPer and you try to take that opening duel, and the other guy's expecting it, even if you win that maybe like 60-70% of the time, it might not even be worth it, because if you can just force a slower round,
yeah,
it's going to be better. Because if you do give up that kill, it's so hard for your team after that.
Staying alive and having a chance to fight later on in the round is definitely sometimes an underrated thing. Hype gonna throw back some grenades, but they are gonna go for a hard retake here on the Big side for Catwalk. I love this. Madger's already down in front, but let's see if they have another bit of utility to get them a bit closer. It'll be Madger to take down QB. Big. Oh, there's the shot in return. They're pushing into it, trying to hunt down the AWP. Nobody can see anything. Trimbo helping out now, and Tabson putting the screws on here for the other side. The grenade fails to get in there, but again, they've managed to slow them down plenty enough, and Crimbo will control Jota in the middle. It's just Woxic now, alone against 4. They really wanted to get that done on the Catwalk side, but Big, they were ready. Even if the first fight doesn't go their way, they have 3 people there, and that's way more than you'd normally see for the CT side on that position. How sick.
And this goes back to your point, I think, of why the long takes are really important. Because if a CT side decides to open that way, the long take allows you to know that. And you can then deliberate how best to attack the CT positions. Woxic tries to stay alive here. Oh my god, okay, here's the running. Thank goodness for him. And so that's, I think, where some of this is going wrong for Aurora, is in those opening setups.
The only the only problem is sometimes on Dust2 you can't force yourself to go long because you just might not spawn for
Might
it.
have the spawns.
So, so it's like I haven't checked, but it's one of those things where like this time they don't really have it. So maybe that is it. But it's also if you're struggling on the T side, I feel like going long. All right, connects with JDC. That's pretty good. Sometimes going long on the T side, it's a comfort kind of thing. It's like you can just if you get the spawn for it, you can always get something done. Everybody knows what they're doing. There's no real surprises. But they haven't really had the opportunity to just yet. 3-round difference. Money is looking pretty good on Big. It's at least 3 players that have a little bit to work with. So even if they lose a round here, they won't be immediately reset. Bomb hanging outside of long. Already a big indication for those of us with a minimap.
True. Yes, we have perfect information, and they do not. Okay, so the bomb actually on the back of Jota, looking to make his way through the longhouse into long. And I like the pressure on Catwalk here. Might pull players away from long here. So it's by design, but can QB get the result for Big? He absolutely can. 2 kills. You don't expect him to get more than 1. Now the AK swap up might be a third. Walksy has to bully his way through the position. The Tech 9's good for it. But now holding onto that car position, the crossfire coming on through, taps it in the long spot, makes it impossible here. Surely for Xantares.
Yeah, absolutely. It is hyped to take him down. That was such a clumsy spray from QB at the start. I thought he was going to fail both those kills. And it's actually kind of sick because his position is not expected by the second player that comes through because, he hit from the first one. So, like, the whole setup for QB was kind of sick, but then he almost destroyed the whole thing. Otherwise, fantastic round coming out once again. Big. How shocking would it be if they could take down Aurora to start the tournament with? I'd definitely be surprised for me. I just, I never know what to expect with Big. Even to this day. And they have the other most annoying quality, which is every time they play well and I get on board, I'm like, okay, I could be on the Big train once again. Then it derails, kills a bunch of civilians.
Oh my god.
That's how it is then, in my mind at least.
Oh my god, okay, well...
I've been on that train so many times. Maui tried to get it on for a long time. He said they were like the best team in the world at one point, I think.
Did he really? He must have got roasted. He must have been roasted.
Especially because we are lying a lot about how much he said. But essentially, in essence, well, he almost practically did say that.
I believe that completely.
Nice. Let's go.
Yeah, it's a marvel that you've survived the ride on the Big train, but we'll see what is possible here. Woxic, no AK, just a scout. We'll see if that's going to be something he can do some damage with. His team has to find more position here. The long position is controlled nicely by Big. In fact, they're going a little aggressive here, making a jumping sound. The jump peak, trying to bait for Hyped. Oh, it works, but the shot is whiffed, and oh no! ODDIK might get both with the Galil here. Pulls out the nade, the quick flash, pistol in hand, and it is an after image, but in Hype's face, but still gets the kill.
How did he survive?
I honestly have no idea what the hell just happened.
All right. There was 2 people out long, though, and I think Jota kind of knew that. So they might just try and turn this into a faster beast. But I say faster, but the time for the faster part has already kind of escaped them. Pushing into this one is Crimbo. He's got some backup with him as well. That's a scout on the other side. And Woxic gets completely deleted here. Big looking to take 12 rounds, and they absolutely will.
Dude.
They celebrate by blowing open Crimbo. Why not? 12 rounds. They're just laughing their way through.
Dude, they can barely survive on the Big train.
I know.
Themselves.
Not a lot of room there. By the way, just a small detail, if you were wondering, because they did smoke at the start of this round. They smoked both the door and the Xbox. That is not a mistake for Aurora. That is to stop the CTs from ever blowing open the smokes, right? So the CTs will try and blow open the smokes to watch through, but then you can do that, but all you're going to get is one of the smokes. This is like a double layer. So kind of an interesting little detail there. Out long we go. Wicadia to take down QB to begin with. Aurora struggling for their match life here as they need to get in this overtime. They need 5 in a row. Starts with a bit of a trade here. Okay, there's Xantares. That's what we're talking about.
But also, Hyped absolutely looks so confident. Repositioning now to that mid position to look for Xantares. That was spotted. Lower dark for a flash.
Tabson's position is also kind of sick. Oh, Satara's back again.
He's come alive, Anders. There he is.
I mean, if ever there was a time, if someone was going to get them back into OT, then this probably would be how they get there. Bring him up out of the molten steel and back into the game. It's Tabson, Crimbo. Again, it's an awkward position to try and peek against. They're not ready for it. They can't see him yet. Tabson has got a little bit of that click on his own. Is fighting now Centaurus. He'd be watching with the scout to take him down. I would have loved to have seen Tabson get one more shot there. Crimbo with a great movement. All right, he's actually here pretty quickly. Gonna try and run straight for the Molotov. It's a lot of damage on him, but he's trying to catch that timing. Spray not quite connecting, and because of the earlier Molotov damage, he's low enough for the scout to outright kill him. So a little bit worrisome. Spray not there, but Woxic, you could see, well, you could hardly see him there. Crimbo goes down, and 1 out of 5 down.
Yes, and okay, if Santaros can keep doing that, I mean, that's Aurora being in a position where they can kind of win. But we do need to see this continue from Santaros, and it came out in a moment of desperation, in a moment when the round felt like it had completely slipped away. Big have the economy to fall by up. Okay, once again, the opening onto the long position here. What can we see from Hyped? Has to fall off. The nade's too good right there. The spawn too good for Aurora. And this is the first time we're really truly seeing a strong long opening without any losses for Aurora.
It's really well played. They throw that smoke from T-spawn as well that lands in the corner. They already throw the crossing smoke, but QB's position here is so nice. It means that Big don't have to spend a lot of grenades to know what's happening long. He's just there watching for it. But otherwise, they would have to sort of grenade open the smoke behind him. It's going to be another smoke thrown right now for the second cross. And I don't think they have any more. They pick up another one, so Maja has one. So let's see how much is going to be happening here. If a lot of counter grenades come out, they could wait even longer. Centaurus getting caught in the middle of it. That's the power of those HEs. And they have more grenades on Big, so they can do it again.
This is right now Big also checking for the catwalk push. They know they only have to deal with this long play, and QB out of the smoke finds another. Jota going down. Right now Aurora, they're bleeding out. They need to find kills. Maja with that pickup onto Hyped, but with the cat play shut down now, it's just Maja against 4 more players here to keep Aurora in this one. Another headshot found, but there's the trade from QB. Great defense there from them, and Big managed to pick up the best of 3, and that is certainly an upset.
Very, very shocking stuff. I am excited to see this great hold on the A-bomb